Welcome back once again to Memoirs of the Father. I am your host, the Father Alex Burnham. How is everybody doing today? I hope that you're doing great as always. And if you're not, hopefully this conversation that we're getting ready to have will turn your whole day around. Because today I'm sitting here with Brandon Gray from the University of South Florida, and he is also a former cheerleader at Shelton State and McCracken County High School. I met Brandon, oh gosh, how long has that been? 2018? Probably around that time.
Yeah.
And you were, what, 16 then?
It's about to turn 17.
About to turn 17. And we've known each other ever since. And it's been several years since then because you were with us for 2 years. You were at Shelton twice. And is this your third year? Fourth year at South Florida?
Yeah.
Damn. Now I feel old, bro. Like, I feel that. So today we're going to get into a lot of stuff, and we were talking about what we were going to talk about, and then in our fashion we just said fuck it and threw it out because like we're not going to remember this, and we're going to just get to doing what we're going to do. But we kind of have a general plan, but we don't know how we're going to get to where we're going to get. So we're just going to go along for the ride. And I hope that you guys enjoy us. Before I get started, I want to continue to promote Hallie's blog. If you guys listened to the last episode, Life with Hallie, I want you guys to go back and continue to support her. She was back in the hospital like the day after we recorded. I know that she's doing a lot of stuff with her blog, and I've talked to her. She's going to come back and do some more stuff with me. So just continue to support her, continue to pray for her, and check out her stuff, especially if you enjoyed the episode, because she really wants to get out and talk about her experiences more and help people with what she's going through the same way that I want to do this with cheerleading. So yeah, please continue to do that. Also, my girlfriend's oldest son, he's got King Panda Studios. If you guys are looking out for that, if you're into like comic books and trading cards and electronics, is basically a big foundation that they've put together. That will be a collective unit for independent writers and creators, basically of stuff like that. So comic books, video games, card games, and they've been going to cons and showcasing stuff. He actually has one comic book out on the shelves now. Book one. He's got several that are digital copies, and he's growing. He's actually starting to make quite a bit of money off doing this. So he's really excited about the possibility. They're working on a video game as well. So if that's the kind of stuff that you're into, which I know some people in cheerleading aren't, some people really are, because I've met some people that will absolutely surprise you with some of the stuff that they're into. Oh, well, I went to Moorhead one time. And Austin was really big in Magic the Gathering. Mm-hmm. Well, they had that other dude that he was like, he looked like Bubba Gump Shrimp. Yeah. Is Kurt? I can't think of his last name. Not Kurt, is his brother. I cannot think of what his name was off the top of my head. This is about over a decade ago. Huge black guy, 6'6", just a monster of a man. And we mentioned the words Magic the Gathering around him, and like it's like time stood still in this room, and he's like, everybody sit right here. And he went back into his room, came out, and he pulled out this box, and he had like this deck he had built to like engineer, and like nobody knew this about him. He'd been on the team for years. And like people were like, we didn't know you were into this. It's like, I would never. I've never done bolts. So there are a lot of people that are into some stuff, and obviously we were always into a lot of those different things too. But I just wanted to promote that and give them a toss to my audience. If there's anybody that's interested in looking at stuff like that, please feel free to. But we're probably not going to waste a whole lot more time because I don't have anything else to talk about. So we're going to get right into the action and start recording. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. Now, I had stated earlier we first met Brandon in it was 2018, probably right around March. I think you were one of the very first open gyms that we did. What made you decide to come to open gyms? Did someone convince you? What got you in the door? And then, more importantly, what kept you on our side of the door after it started?
No. So I went to church with Max Hausman, and he looked at me one day at Bible study and said, I bet you couldn't throw this girl. Mind you, I'm the strongest kid in the school at 16. I'm like, I can throw her better than you can. I promise you that. So got convinced to come to open gym, did a toss extension before a toss hands, looked through and said, how do I get her down? I think it was, what's her name, Landon Bagwell? She was like, all right, just catch her softly. No. Popped Megan right in the back and came down. Jennifer pulled me aside after and said, well, you're on my team. This is our practice. See you there.
I think you weren't there for very long. It was very quick, like, okay, well, this is going to work out.
Yeah.
Now, when you're saying you're the strongest kid, this is not a boastful or an exaggeration. because I remember like when we used to go to the weight room and work out. Was it Self that was doing all that stuff? Like had the
it was before Self. Where'sman started it,
Yeah.
and then Self took it over.
So they had pretty much like a records thing of who had the best bench and squat and all this, like all these things are, and it's written on the wall, and until someone passes it, it stays on that wall. You were on there for years before I even seen you. And then I was like, who the hell is this kid? And it was like, oh yeah, 355 bench. I was like, who? I was like, who is that kid? And you had some other stats that were up there that were like high. Like there were a couple that you were on the top of, but like your name was on a lot of different places on there. Because I think they kept like the top 3 or 4 or 5, something like that. It was
top 3, and then you had the 4 and 5 underneath the top 3.
Yeah, and you were on a lot of those. Yeah. And you were a football player. And, we'd had Caleb the year before that played football, but like, nothing against Caleb. No. You were a better football player.
No.
And I think that your team, that football team was much more dependent on you and what you did in your position than they were him. Nothing against him or anything like that. He played and he was good.
Yeah.
But I think, because I remember like when your football coaches would come up to you and be like, wanting you to come back, and like they were like, fuck, we need you, you know? So, I mean, you were a big get, and you still played football your first year. And we'll get into a lot of that here in a little bit, because I think that's part of your story, because you're one of the few athletes that I've ever coached that did both of those at the same time. I've coached some other football players before, but nobody that I ever felt was like as prominent in football as you were. Because you were playing damn near every down, on Friday night, and then
everything but
defense, like you were a mule basically as a workhorse. But so we talked about like you were excited obviously in the beginning. When you first come over, what do you think is like the biggest difference that you have to go from going from a football team to a cheerleading team?
For me, the biggest thing was dealing with the girls. Like I had to learn real quick how to like be nice, because in football you can just talk shit and get away with it. You can say whatever you want. It's football. Not in cheerleading. You really have to like mind what you say at certain times, and it took me until about second year at USF to figure that out finally. Definitely got yelled at a lot.
Well, it's a process too, because we all go through it to a different degree. Even if like we came in, we didn't play sports. It's different to interact with females in a competitive environment. And it's not like all females are that way, but there is, with the pressure and scrutiny that a lot of our girls go through, it's important that you deliver things in a specific manner. And because they trust us, they put a lot of faith in us. And I mean, you understand all this stuff now, but like the way that we perceive our girls is important to them, to at least to some manner, to some degree. And the way that we communicate with them is essential. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some tough girls out there that will rip your head off and send you packing if you can't bring the energy.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I never coached anybody like that. So not a female anyway. Yeah. So understandable. Now, I don't remember. I mean, you were being kind of some here and there for a long time, but you were rotating a lot with football. And but we featured you fairly prominently in our routine the first year. Yeah. And we did a lot of things I thought were really smart with you. Because like I said, on the first day we knew you had the toss extension. We were like, well, shit, most time that's a task for some of our guys. Some guys pick up on it quicker. It depends on the age. But we were like, for what we were going to try to do, we were like, he's going to be capable of fitting into that. Because at that point we had a pretty experienced group. We're on a 2-year run. We just won the last 2 years, going for a third. I mean, we were doing big things. But you were limited for some of it stuff because you would do football and then come into practice. So like there weren't times that you were doing all practice. There weren't times where we were doing a lot of true full outs for a long time. And then usually like you come in, like the back half the kids are going to go work out, and then you have one-on-one time with me. And usually Taylor was who we gave you. She was our senior top girl, most experienced, and we were like, she probably needed the reps the least of the girls that we had, and she was going to tell you what to do, because she wasn't really, she could be aggressive, and she showed moments of that, but we were like, she was the only one that was going to effectively try to communicate with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, Megan was still in her early year. I think she was only like maybe class, a junior, so she was still young, and she wasn't always that aggressive. And then Randy was new, and Jaden was just coming in. So like Taylor was really like, it really was the perfect scenario for the two of you guys, because like she's someone that's so experienced. You were like the newer of the guys, but you were going to be receptive to a tougher and more frustrative treatment because of you're running football.
No.
And I feel like all that worked out pretty good. But really, truthfully, like until you got done with football, we really didn't get insane reps with you.
Yeah.
Which is the most scary part about a lot of this. Like,
very much so.
Because, I mean, for a long time, we had, like, the opening set for probably up until December was like a toss lib. Mm-hmm. And you picked up, I mean, you really didn't drop it that often. Mm-hmm. Like, especially once football got done, your consistency picked up like insane. Yeah. Like, and then obviously we made this. How hard was it on you physically to do both? Because it's not. I mean, you really were not getting a lot of days off because we were substituting like Sundays to get practices in with you. So really, even if you had Saturday off, 12 hours prior to that, you played a football game.
Basically got in a car wreck.
Yeah. And like I said, and you're playing the whole fucking game. And you're a lineman. So you're bumping and grinding. Like, at no point in time, like, that's a long day at the office.
Yeah.
I don't care who you're playing against. If you're a lineman in football, I don't care how good you are, how much you run over people. It's a long day at the office every day. So just, how do you do that? How do you manage physically? What's it like? Just, because there are a lot of guys that do both sports, and it's hard for them.
Yeah.
How did you juggle it?
So back then, it was a lot easier than it ever would be now because I was so young, still could have the energy naturally to put my body through all that. But the hardest thing was like mentally wanting to do it. Like you'd get through Friday nights and just lay in bed being like, there's no way I can wake up in 48 hours and go do cheer again and then straight to football right after cheer. Yeah. So that was really the hardest thing, but like just cheer's so addicting, man. Like you would come in, learn maybe a new skill, and just want to keep doing that 24/7. So football was like what I loved at the time, and cheer was something that like made me excited. Yeah. That makes sense. It was like something new, and like I didn't know I was going to be good at it, but I had a feeling that I could like hold my own for a long time.
We knew. But I'm glad that you bring that up because I think that kind of brings into something I've thought about it, but I don't think I've really made the connection till you just put it. One of the great things about cheerleading is that there is a lot of gratification and progress that's noticeable. You can't always tell in football when you're getting faster or if you're catching better. I scored a touchdown or I put that dude in his ass. It's not. It's kind of the same thing, but like in cheerleading, you get a new skill that's like a gratification to be like, oh well, how many more can I get? And it's like especially for as hard and as struggling as the road are, there's little things that will pick you up, all the time. Like, oh, I hit my first toss QB today, and then a month later, I'm like, oh, man, I hit my first full up, and then like you can just keep going, and like you may get a bunch of skills in one day, and then there's a whole process of perfecting them. But there is a lot more gratification, and I'm glad that you brought that up because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about that. And it's obviously something I talked about it because I just came up with it pretty good on that gratification. So that is definitely something that's different about our sport that I really don't think you can say that about really any other sport. Like even dance is like, dance moves are subjective. Yeah. With us, our skills, like, I mean, some difficulty is a little bit subjective, but like there's a pretty clear line between certain things. Like there is a pretty tangible way to understand that you're progressing and getting better. And that is one of the things, like, there's a low level of uncertainty about where you actually are. Yeah. And that's a great thing because that can be a reality check and, like, puts you in, like, oh, shit, I can't hit my skills and everybody else can. Like, I know where I need to be at. Stuff like that. It's a lot more... I feel like the road is so clear for a lot of people that don't really understand how to walk it. Yeah. But, like, people just don't know what they're looking for. If you treat it like another sport... like you're chasing wins instead of chasing progress. Yeah. That's where you get. So you probably finished football right around the time that we went into our first competitions because we did I knew we did was that the one that was at Muhlenberg?
Yeah.
That year we did the regionals at Muhlenberg where we competed against Graves. Was that the first one we did that year?
That real small one?
Yeah.
With the gray mats and the blue gym?
Yeah.
That was my first ever time
that was your first
performing,
one?
yeah.
Okay. So walk me through that, because this is our first competition. Now, this is the first year that both of us would get to go to state. Because the year before, I believe, we beat them. They didn't get to go, and then they changed the rules, which I've stated this before was bullshit because there was 4 years prior to that McCracken didn't get to go.
Yeah.
The one time that they don't get to go, and it's like, oh, well, we got to change the rules. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
And I understand it. At that point, it's really, I mean, for a long time, and you can look at the history if you want to dispute me, anybody out there. Since that rule change, only one other team besides McCracken or Graves County has won the co-ed state championship. One other team since then, and that was Bullitt Central.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the year that was this year.
That was my junior year.
Yeah. They won the first one when there was the merger, and nobody has won since except for McCracken or Graves. And that was, God, boy, that's been 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right, okay? You know, and I told Raymond this, like, McCracken won this year with 2 drops.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bro, and you won by like 5 points. Like,
yeah.
You know, and Graves they shouldn't have won, but they shouldn't have come in 5th place. But that's a story for another day. So walk me through, because like I said, it's a big competition, even though the pressure of we have to hit is kind of gone.
Yeah.
Because we know we're both going. Yeah. But this is your first time. And it's someone that at this time, we don't like. And they don't like us. Mm-mm. We don't like them. Mm-mm. And I'm curious to see just what was going through your head because like I said, you're coming right off of football. Mm-hmm. And like, I've not been nice about the way I talk about these people.
No.
So, no. I'm spitting fire at practices you've never heard spoken. Like, yeah. So just walk me through that whole thing, like that first time being out there performing that whole day. Give me what you can and just.
The main thing I remember from that day is being concerned because my pants didn't fit. They were too long, and I had to figure out how to make them look like everyone else.
I remember that.
So that was my biggest thing. And I was also scared about, because I wasn't in every stunt or in pretty much any pyramids at that point because I'm brand new. Like, I've been practicing for 3-4 months at this point.
Yeah.
So I don't have any experience with like spotting somebody. And y'all had me spotting Caleb in the first pyramid, and I wasn't tall enough to reach the ankle, so I had to lift up on his shoulders, and he used to get so mad at me because I used to mess him up in it.
And he had just dislocated his shoulder earlier that week. I bet that felt awesome.
I can only imagine. So I'm shitting bricks about that, really. After I hit that first stunt with Taylor, I was like, don't remember much. Like, you always say you black out and don't remember anything after. Yeah. And that was true. Like, I just remember holding Caleb up, and then we're off the floor. that's pretty much it.
I remember when that was over, when they did the awards and everything, which we lost, but we really didn't. We only had 1 drop, and we had like a really nasty bobble in the chair. But overall, we were like, that's not bad.
No.
And John came up afterwards, and he was like, I know that first stunt is not going to stay a tall slip. And they were money. Like, these things were beautiful. And then, you know, I think a week or 2 weeks later, we did Bluegrass. And if we competed against anybody, I don't know.
No, we didn't.
They got murdered. No. I can tell you that. But I remember, we had a couple little hiccups. It wasn't terrible. Definitely not super clean. But we were doing what we wanted to do. We had good momentum. Now, obviously, the Bluegrass is a little bit bigger. It's a different venue. A lot more teams than what we're used to at our regional state qualifier. Does anything changed for you at this point?
I'm so new into cheerleading that I don't understand the pressure of it yet. Like, I understand, like, state and nationals were the big ones. I was just like, if we go out there and do our job, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're here for. So, like, I never got really nervous until nationals to go compete.
Do you think that not knowing what's going on was better for you?
100%. I'm such a nervous person as it is, like, in my head, that, like, that was probably the best thing for me, is not knowing the pressure.
Yeah. I've said this several times, that most of my boys were just too stupid to know
Yeah.
the pressure that was on their shoulders. Like, it's like if you're a kid, you're a 5-year-old, and you're walking on the highway. You don't understand what could happen. No. You're just like, I'm gonna go get that ball.
Pretty much.
That's the way that every single one of my, and by the grace of God, most of the time we never got clipped. But yeah, just an interesting thing. Now after this, we go to state, and this is a little bit bigger. This is probably. Where was this? Was this at the horse barn? This is one of the last ones that was at. The floor was uneven because all the plastic. Because we did this one, and then
the next year it
was
there too.
So like I think your senior year was the last time we did we used the All-Tech Arena, which is a horrible fucking venue for cheerleading.
It's something.
And we used it for a long. I mean, it's a big open venue, but
it's
like
a dirt floor, plastic.
Yeah, I mean they literally bring horses, do rodeo shows and stuff like that, and it's they have like the white styrofoam laid down on the dirt, but it's filthy. Disgusting, because by the time you come in there and track dirt around, people walk over it, looks awful. Yeah, and it's just big open spaces on the floor. Like, this is not. It looked good on camera because they would just put the camera up, like, but you can't tell that there's like 45 feet of space on either side of the floor and the venue, and the cheers sound like shit in the venue because it's so big and so open. And I mean, it was so big that it never really got packed. But there was, so like, I would say like 65% of the arena is constantly empty, which is worse because when they're yelling at you, the crowd's in front of you, where their voices are echoing to the back and they're reverberating to where fucking nobody is. You know, so I hated the venue. I really did. I don't guess me talking shit about the venue is productive, but obviously, we were not happy with how that ended. What did you think? Just from going off the floor and coming off of it? Because, I mean, there was a lot of pressure. I remember being pretty high-strung. Like, I really wanted to win this one. I mean, obviously, we didn't. I thought that we could have. But we just did not do... I mean, we had mistakes. Yeah. You know, that was 100% the... Because I think we ended up getting third. Out of the 3 teams that had a chance to win, we came in third. But I think you came off the performance pretty good. You didn't have any mistakes. So how did you feel just, this is the first really high-pressure moment with a big things at stake. I know we've lost before, but like this is like the first pretty big test that you've got. Yeah. How'd you get through it?
I remember feeling comfortable, like, with what I needed to do. I mean, like, practices were hard, so that prepared us for what we did. And I always remember Taylor Puckett being, like, a very calming force for me. Like, we used to always look at each other and be like, I got you if you got me. We said that before every stunt we had together, and, like, that really helped me, like, calm down. I didn't pay attention to anyone besides myself. I'm not going to lie. So when we came off the floor, I was like, we did fine. Then we watched it. I was like, no, we didn't. And I just remember, like, after we went, I was up in the stands. I was like... Graves, just please drop. They didn't. They hit. Then Bullet Central went. I'm like, please. Like, there's no... And they hit. Yep. And so I knew we lost. I didn't know we were going to get third, but I knew we lost.
Yeah. You bring that up, too. I remember having conversations sometimes with the team about... Because I always felt like they were... I feel like sometimes we had mistakes at practices because people were worried about if someone else was going to hit and not themselves. And I used to always say that, like, when the music turns on... You can't worry about anybody else. That was always my thing, and I preached that for several years. I don't remember saying it a whole lot around you, but I remember the teams before you. I was pretty adamant about that because like oh, this person we just put in the you ain't got time to worry about him. You have your own job. And I was like, and if you're thinking about him, you're gonna make a mistake on what you're doing. Yeah. Like you got to trust him. That's the concept of the team is that you have to trust that the people around you are gonna do what they're going to do. But it's also your job as an athlete to make sure your team can trust you. Yeah. You know, I mean, going into that, obviously, I don't really know if I was really that worried about anything in particular.
It was always like...
Probably that first pyramid was kind of wonky.
Was it the round-off up at that point?
No. We changed it after that.
We did.
This was the, that fucking half round from hell.
Peg leg.
Yeah. Half up, half around to the peg leg, low to high. Yeah. That was the whole concept that we came up with. This was ridiculous. It was like, okay, I remember when we did the choreography camp, they brought the girl from Moorhead, and Mark's like, this is what I want you to do. And he just told me, like, he didn't demonstrate it to me.
Nope.
So I'm guessing what he wants.
Yeah.
And I hit it in like 2 or 3 tries. And then he's like, all right, this is what we're going to do. Because originally he wanted to take it up and then high tick at the top.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing it by myself. I didn't have a pyramid group. And I was like, for me, that's hard for me to do. With all the spinning, I was like, you could do it. But I was like, if you want a quick fix, it's not going to happen. So we changed it to low to high. And it wasn't, because those 3 guys could all do them. It wasn't that super challenging for them. It was just getting all the other stuff. Because when you do something that's longer and complex like that, you need to be able to hit the pieces individually before you even really try to put them together.
Yeah.
So for us, that ended up being a smarter move. But it was fucking hard.
Yeah.
And it was hard to make look clean. It was very technical with some guys that were not the most technical. Jack's was always beautiful.
That's Jack Bass.
Jack's was beautiful. Caleb's was pretty good. Ben.
Old Benny boy.
Ben didn't understand. He didn't.
How much that kid did understand for a long time.
Oh, we didn't get to keep him much longer after this.
That's for true.
I've talked about Ben in so many episodes.
Oh,
we ruined this kid's life.
Yeah.
Oh, he did. We've gotten together. Several of us have gotten together in the past, and we kind of owe him. God's gonna make us answer for that one day. We got to stand before the Lord with that little baby. Man. But yeah. So now from there we're going. We make the changes after state. Mm-hmm. We put the toss QPs in, and we really work on it for a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Take a big long break for the Christmas break, and then we come back to the suffering.
Murray State.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Murray State. We'll talk about that one because that was a pretty nice night for you. You were one of the only people.
Yep.
But so when we come back from break, we had the 5 toss QPs originally, which, looking back at it, we were a little crazy for thinking that. Hindsight's 2020. But we had a rough week practicing that week, just in general. Now, we really didn't have a whole lot of full outs with the QPs anyway. Because, like I said, we've really only been working on them for 2 weeks. And I don't think all the time during that 2 weeks they were in the routine. I think that we ran the routine as it was, and then we spent some time working on the QBs, and we might have run it a couple times before we went on break. Really, that week, which is fucking crazy that we did this. When I think about that, I'm like, bro, this was stupid. Now, I've done dumber things after this, but this one was up there. So we do the Murray State performance. That's on Thursday. We have literally practiced for 2 days going into this, and this is basically a thing. Now, we would go over to Murray State, and this is like the first time I remember. They did it the year before, but I didn't go because Chloe folded herself up like an accordion. I remember that, but I didn't go to that one. But this one I went to. Us and Graves the halftime. It was a pretty good sized game. I mean, it was a pretty decent crowd. It wasn't like it wasn't like the Austin P game. Yeah. For them, that's the huge rivalry game. But it was it Moorhead? Were they playing fucking Moorhead?
I think that was my second year they were playing.
Maybe,
Moorhead.
yeah. One year they were, and we were like, "Oh, this is gonna be fun."
It was my second year.
And then Mark and the cheerleaders didn't come. I'm like, "Fuck you, Mark." But we on that opening toss QB, I think we hit no more than 2.
Jack hit his solid, and mine traveled a little bit, but it stayed up and dipped on the right count. Everyone else's came completely down.
Yeah, like not even in the ballpark.
No.
I don't remember if the pyramids were good.
They were up. I do remember.
Have we changed it at that point when the one that we came up with?
The half up. The round off up with the hands full around after?
Yeah.
Because I'd been, and it was my first time doing it.
Yeah, remember Ben was grounded the first day, and it was me and you, and Jennifer's like, "Oh, this looks great."
Well,
I'm like, yeah, it does. Damn right it does. We didn't drop that thing one time. I was like, we shouldn't. There's 600 pounds of man underneath this top girl. It's not coming down.
You remember when we learned that, and you yelled at me for doing too much, helping you? You're like, just let me do it.
I was like, Brandon, please. Dude, the full around that I catch, my hands look beautiful. My grip, I'm not touching it.
Nope.
Like, it looks authentic.
It's about 3 inches above your hand.
Yeah, buddy. And it just, I was like, this is nice. I can get used to this. Dude, like when we wanted to dip, you were like slamming her down into me. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can hold her on your own because you're getting ready to be doing it by yourself here in a second. Dude, when I had to try to stand up, it was like I was fighting both of y'all to like
You 100% were because I didn't know the counts.
That whole day was right. I did the whole full out that day too.
Multiple full outs that day.
I did 3 full out.
Yep.
I hit all 3 times. And I did all of Ben's routine, bro. It was wild. So
Ben had a hard routine that year too.
but yeah, fuck yeah, he did. I remember. I remember thinking like, damn, because the only thing he wasn't in was the last period, and I was like, that's bullshit. I was like, she's like, well, he can have a break then. I was like, he has nothing else to do after that. What good does it do to give him a break? Might as well just lay. He's dead. Like,
yeah,
he's laying down.
He ended up getting put in it at the end.
Dude, we did that to Jake. We did that to Jacob too. And I was
Tank,
like,
he can take it. He's huge.
Yeah, but she's still like, oh, well, he can have a... I said, it's 15 seconds. And then he's done. I was like, this has nothing... He's not even doing the shoulder set. It's over. I was like, that's the worst shit. Oh, yeah, we'll give you a break here.
At
Like,
the end.
wow, awesome. No, my job's done. That's when I get a break. After you've done what we need you to do. Second stunt was bad. We had a couple drops there. I mean, Max dropped Megan to the floor.
Punched him out after.
Punched the mat, which pissed Raymond off. Something special.
I was there for that conversation. That one was a fun one.
I think the rest of it was okay.
Yeah, no, it was fine after that. We had already messed up so bad in the beginning. We coasted through the end.
Yeah, and we only went the one time.
Yeah.
And then Taylor took you guys in the hallway and had a conversation with
Taylor and Madison.
Would you like to enlighten us on what that conversation may have entailed and how that potentially changed the projection of the team?
Oh, God. That was, 6 years ago?
Yeah. This is 19.
Yeah.
In January.
A lot of that conversation was the seniors yelling at us, even though the seniors had a lot of mess-ups in that routine as well. It was basically pretty much like, get your head out your ass, like, we need to work harder at practice. Like, what that was unacceptable, and that's not who McCracken is. Like, based on how we reacted when something did mess up, and going out there and embarrassing ourselves.
Yeah. I remember me and Jennifer and Allie were sitting there talking, and Raymond came up, and he's like, you guys ought to go back there and listen to Taylor. She is leading this team right now. And he was like adamant. Dude, I went back there and I was like, oh, I don't know if this is the brand of leadership that I'm used to. She was hot, bro. Pissed. I've never seen her get that. It was like crazy white girl anime.
Oh, that's
like,
the maddest I've ever seen that girl.
She was tuned up. Like her face was beat red. And I was like, I've seen hints of this Taylor before, but I was like, this is her.
Yeah.
Like, this is the animal. And I was like, okay. So, from there, we got it together pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. I think we had a light practice the day after that, but then like Saturday, we were off to V-Rock, and we had the greatest miracle on God's green earth when that hit, that full out hit. Because I don't know how it did. Like,
was that a Dunbar?
Yeah, that was a Dunbar.
Did I ever tell you what I did before we left?
No.
So, in my brain, we're just going to practice with Moorhead. I didn't realize this is a competition. I had left my uniform at the house, and we are on the bus leaving. And I tell Jennifer, and she's like, are you kidding me? So I get off the bus, I get in my car, I drive home. Mind you, I still live like in Lone Oak. But the bus was headed to that gas station right outside Reedland.
Yeah.
So I have to make it there in 10 minutes, and I live 20 minutes. So I jump in the car, that little Nissan Altima, and I hit 120 going down the highway, make it right as y'all pull in, and I'm shitting bricks.
Can we have a small side story? And I want this in the pod because this is too fucking good for me to not mention this. My first year as a coach at Graves County, we had this kid named Rayburn, and he was so dumb. Like, I cannot begin to tell you how stressful this kid was because he just couldn't listen to anything. And we were doing the regional in Memphis. I can't remember what the name of it was, like Boot Hill or something like that. Maybe it was Cape. But we were in Memphis doing the regionals. And we're sitting there, and John's like, all right, everybody, go put on your uniform. And John was sitting right next to Jennifer when this happened. And Rayburn came up, and he goes, John, he goes, I don't have my uniform. Keep in mind, we're 2.5 hours away from where we live. And John goes, why did you not bring your uniform? And he goes, well, it's like, well, I just thought we were doing a performance. He's like, you thought that the regional competition was just a performance. And Rayburn looks dismantled. And he's like, well, what am I going to do? And like, we had an alternate who could give him the uniform. And John was like, no. you're going out there and what you got on. And we sent his ass out there in blue jeans and t-shirt. And John told him, if you fucking drop, you're out. He was pissed. He was done.
Oh my!
This kid was. Oh, he had on. I think he had on boots. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is horrible. But we had so many problems with him that year alone. But that was just the beginning of what it was. Like, bro, he was in stunts, like he sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, he's not the guy, and he was just like, fuck it, we're gonna embarrass him. So I'm glad that we didn't have to do that to you. Now, obviously, we had the great performance in E-Rock. I mean, we're feeling good. Like, all 5 of the toss QPs smacked. That routine is perfect. And then we practice with Moorhead that night. We do the performance the next day. The performance is not 100% what we want it to be. I mean, it wasn't bad.
Did we go 3 times this year?
I don't know. I don't know if we went more than... I bet we went twice.
We did go twice.
I vividly remember one time, like, we dropped 2 of the toss QPs. We dropped Max and Ben, and then Max dropped his toss load. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it wasn't bad. But obviously, it was not the performance that we wanted the week before. So we came back and we're shifting gears. We condense down. We go to the 4 QPs. We leave Max in. Obviously, we do a lot of performance, and we genuinely get a whole lot better over the weeks going into that. I forget we dropped Jaden at Moorhead. Mm-hmm. We didn't. Caleb and Max did. Yeah, she was not doing great after that, but big girl.
Sure.
Yeah, because I spotted that when y'all performed it on the floor. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how uncomfortable we were with putting that back out there. Like, yeah, I remember that. I spotted that.
Hearing it, like her hitting that.
It was bad. She's a champ. She got up. She's a champ. But obviously, we have Max had several mistakes. And, long term we get through all this. But, like, how do you feel going into nationals? Because at this point, you know pretty much what's going on. Now, nationals is a whole nother level. I'll give you that. But, like, from the cheerleading standpoint, you're probably pretty up to speed for the most part at this point. Just you talk about it, because I have my opinions on it from things, but I just felt like we were like a Jenga, and we're searching for the right block to pull that's not going to bring down the whole house. And I felt like that's kind of like very much on edge. A lot like Jack and Caleb, I knew specifically were. Megan and Randy very much, because I had it out with Jack and Randy the day we left because they dropped at that performance, and I was like, but we had one conversation about it, and I never had to have it with them again. But I very much felt like we were teeter-tottering on... I felt like we were so scared of what we were capable of that it was preventing us from doing what we really could. And I don't know... Yeah. I feel like you guys felt some of that. I think some people knew that, but I don't know if people were just, like, really down. Or, like, I don't know if you guys realized how fucking good y'all were. Like, truthfully, before we went into that. And I think... I'm just curious to see... And I can understand why you guys wouldn't see that, based on everything that was going on. So you just tell me kind of... Where were you at from your point at this? Because at this point, you're probably one of the cleanest and most consistent people that we have. Yeah. Which is crazy, because 3 months ago, that was not even, So just kind of tell me where you at going into this, and like how do you keep going?
This is going to sound arrogant, and I know it is, but I just remember being confused on like why people couldn't get it together at practice. Like, we've done the same routine all year, just harder skills. And, like, nothing's changed, and all you have to do is your job. And, like, coming from football, like, if you do your job, you're fine. And, like, that was, like, really frustrating for me. And I remember going into nationals, like, knowing me and Taylor will be fine. Because, like, 1, she won't let me not be fine. And, like, 2, like, I really did trust you, Jen, and Raymond. Like, y'all, like... I knew y'all had won plenty of times before. Y'all knew the path. Y'all knew what to do as coaches. Yeah. So I was just confused on why people couldn't get together when they needed to.
Absolutely. I get that. From here, we're going to Florida. I mean, I knew the practices were they were what they were. First time you see the football field. Tell me about it. Because we're at sports. So, I mean, I literally think you opened the door and we were right there. Yeah. And we were really close either way. that to me is like that's the first moment you're like, fuck, this is where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me.
So I've always heard like, oh, you're gonna shit yourself when you see the football field. Like, this is cheerleading. Like, just wait. I'm like, oh, like it can't be that bad, right? I round that corner around the Coke bottle thing, Coke, whatever the staircase is, and I'm like, holy shit. This is pre-COVID, so everyone and their mothers on that football field.
Yeah.
And so I'm just walking out there like, this is cheerleading? Like, you're joking, right? You can't even see the field. Like, there's just so many people out there. And we end up practicing with Graves and Blackman.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, so, yeah, okay. So there is other things out here. And it was just like, it was hot.
Well, Blackman was really good that year. They were like on a vicious run for a long time. And they're still really good, don't get me wrong. And they're still kind of on that run. But they were like pretty consistently doing stupid shit.
It's
hard stuff at this point, you know.
They have some
and consistently, like losing
team.
4 guys, coming back next year doing the exact same skills or harder, which is a crazy. I mean, you sympathize with it. You're kind of in their shoes, you know. But like, and you know how that is because like same route, like football, the stunning, all this, same principle. They were experts on the shit because they've been doing it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
You know, we really didn't. I mean, we had you and we had Caleb, and those were the only 2 guys that we ever had that were also playing football at that point. And it's different to work around and having a relationship with the coach. With Jennifer, I guess we're pretty okay with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it worked. So, and then Graves was super good that year.
Yeah.
Probably still to this day like the best execution team that they've ever had because they were about perfect both rounds, and that's, you know, normally that doesn't happen. And like, they were exceptionally good. They had really good skills. They had good numbers. I still think today, even with all the difficulty changes, I still think that was probably the best performance in the school's history. That's who we're practicing with. So, yeah, there's a lot going there. Now, we go the first time. What do you think when you get into the venue? Because I always say the first walk is the most telling part.
Yeah.
You know, it gets easier after the first year. The first year is the time. Just walking up to the arena, getting in, going to the warm-up, kind of where do you go and how do you get there?
Well, I don't remember seeing, like, the castle that year before I was out there on it. So, like, it was all just this big venue. You hear the speakers from outside. Like, it's shoulder-to-shoulder packed once you walked in. Like, there's so many people there. And then we get warmed up. I remember it's fine. Then the staircase. That was the most ominous thing about Nationals to me my first year. It's walking down that dark staircase into the bottom floor from the warm-up room, and it's just silent.
Do you think that it's its own thing, or do you think we hyped the shit up?
Yeah.
And I feel like we definitely made we made that worse than what it could have been. But like, I don't know. It's like I feel that though. Like even when I did competitions that weren't that one, it's especially when there's stuff that's on the line, and it does feel. I don't know. It's symbolic in a lot of ways. The going down to your final steps, finishing the journey. It's like you've already climbed the mountain. In all honesty, you've already climbed the mountain, and you don't even really know it, but you're on your way down. Like this is really the it, and like it's like the last final steps to your journey. And I mean, a lot of shit goes through your head in that moment. It's eternity. Like it could be 60 seconds, and
it's going to feel like 3 days, yeah.
You know, and we typically get a pretty good chunk of time back there. 'Cause, you know, they want to hurry you through everything. First time we went through, I think we dropped Pyramid and Max dropped Lib, but other than that, we did pretty well.
I don't even remember that performance. I'm gonna be completely honest.
And then obviously we don't have a big turnaround. I don't even remember if we went back. Yeah, we did go back because we had to change the fucking stunt. We had to change the stunt because it was illegal. I talked about that at long form with, I think.
That was fun.
Yeah, that wasn't the first time that happened. We had to change the pyramid that year too. I'm getting hot. I remember that. Yeah. So that was the year that like we were supposed to go third, but then some team didn't show up to the drawing.
There's
two summits, one from Tennessee and one from California, and one of them wasn't there when they did the drawing, so they had to redo the drawing. And we went from going third to going last.
Yeah.
It was about an 8-team difference, and about the difference of about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And people were pissed. I remember that. They were mad. But anyway, so now we've got this whole added element that this routine that we're going to throw in finals is actually the first time that we're actually throwing the routine as it was this way.
Yeah.
Do you even have time to register what all's going on? Is it just moving fast? Because I felt like we went from like we're waiting to go over to Jennifer gets there. It's like, all right, everybody come outside. And we're boom, 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 boom. Like, okay, we're good. Get your stuff. We're going. And it's like there was no real time to like. She was just like, hey, take these next 10 minutes and remember what we just did because you're going to have to fucking remember it. That's essentially how that went.
Pretty much.
Basically, it was an audible. We're calling that fly. So you probably have a lot more experience with the audible than we would. But
Too many.
Just run the fuck away. I will get you there. Just trust me.
You go that way, hit that guy, and the rest happens.
Do you remember anything from the finals performance?
I remember that practice before finals.
Yeah.
And like I knew something had happened, but again, first year cheer, never seen it before. I don't know the significance of it. So I remember going out there, changing it, and y'all being like, to me, y'all seemed strangely calm because it worked out. I just remember being like,
we're strangely calm because it's like the guns to our head. It's like there's only one way to do this, dude. Like I cannot describe to you how crystal fucking clear the people from UCA made this to us because we were like, it's been fine all these competitions, it's been legal, and like she showed us on the video, and she's like, well, here's what I can tell you. And Ben was the only one that did it the way that it was like legal. And she's like, if all 6 of these don't look like this one, and we were doing 7, if the other 6 don't look like this one, we're going to call a deduction for every single one of them. And we're like, you know what? That's crystal clear. We're not even going to argue anymore. We're going to go change it. Like, even if we could leave it and we're like, oh, it's fine. Like, we're not even going to take that fucking chance. Like, now. Okay, so we changed it. Yeah. We were pretty calm about it because it was like, what else do we do?
Well, it was an easy fix, too.
It wasn't like drastic. Yeah. It was just a dismount. And it wasn't even the dismount. It was the dismount of the dismount.
Yeah, the barrel roll thing, star, whatever.
No roll, just throw her.
Catch the cradle and back walk over.
Put your hands on the ground. Here you go. And we, dude, that was the funny part because I remember in finals we went ballistic during that part. Like people were going crazy. Like it's a fucking back walk over. It was a toss hands extension, not even a full down, just to the front.
Cradle.
Hold for almost a whole 8 count.
And back walk over
out. We went bananas. All the parents, like the whole arena was popping. They're like, damn, that's hot. But yeah. So obviously now we had the mistake. Do you know that we had the mistake?
I sat there and watched
it. Floor?
Me and Max were right next to each other, and I remember hitting it and seeing it out of the corner of my eye. And we had always preached like you hit, you win. Yeah. So once we got off the floor, I was like, well, we lost. Yeah. What are we doing next year?
Yeah. Well, we were pretty much of the same mentality because we just felt like we were going for 3 in a row. I mean, we were definitively the best team. Yeah. You know, as far as routine on paper, but like you got to go out there and prove that.
You got to hit.
Absolutely. And we felt like if they were looking for a reason to take it from us, I felt like we gave it to them. Yeah. And that was the argument. And it's a pretty safe bet 99% of the time. This is just the 1% where you get the perfect 21 on the blackjack deal and you just don't know it, you know. And we didn't bet. We got lucky. And in a sense, because I remember we told you guys, we were pretty adamant, like, we're not going to win. I don't think we even, like,
I was
suggested an alternative to we're not going to win. And then, obviously, we did win.
Yeah.
So, when it comes down to the final 2, and they're, like, in second place, you know, there's that big pause. They bring out the cameras, and it's like, just fucking shoot me. You know, like, I'm done. Just cook me. And then it's like, they don't say your name after saying second place. What are you thinking?
I remember them saying the TH in Thunder Ridge, and I black out. Like, that's the happiest I've ever been. There's videos of me running backstage, holding the trophy, not letting it go, refusing to get my jacket. Like, I'm just hysterical from joy. Like, there's no way we actually did this. Like, I understand why people keep coming back at this point.
Dude, well, too, like, I remember... we were like, I could barely contain myself. Yeah. Me and Raymond looked at each other just total shock. I mean, they hadn't even said our name yet. Nope. But it was just pleasantly surprised was probably the way that I would describe that.
Yeah.
But like I remember like you were fucking sobbing and like give me a hug and like I guess you were so emotionally charged that you just disregarded how fucking strong you are.
100%.
And we're just mauling us with hugs. Like getting patted on the back by you was like getting punched in the back by a professional boxer. Just bam, just. Because I like one of the kids is like I remember one of the kids adamantly saying, "Get the fuck away from." Maybe Quentin, like, "Don't hug me, motherfucker." Yeah. After he just watched you like break Tanner's back in half. But all in all, it came out. But I felt like something that we would talk about some, and I've talked about your senior year in long form on my own, and I just talked about it with Hallie, so we're not going to go into it real heavy. But I felt like, I want to know if you agree with me on this sentiment. I felt like if we had lost this year, we would have won your senior year. Because I felt like the issues that we had, because we won, we didn't address them.
Yeah.
And I felt like they trickled over. Like the leadership issues, the confidence issues. And I felt like I felt like we struggled with that a lot going into the next year. The same things. The problem was we just didn't have as talented of personnel of people. Like, I mean, you were better and Max had gotten a lot better. But really outside of that, there's a pretty big gap between versus
Max versus everyone else.
Versus with you, your year we had Caleb who's really stubborn. Ben who's really stubborn, and Jack who's just really determined. And then you're hungry. And you put those four together and like I think you guys had the right personalities to just be stubborn enough to make it work. I don't necessarily know if we had a lot of that the year before. And I think because we had tons of problems that first year. We really did. And I felt like if we had lost, we would have been more adamant about the way that we addressed those because we would have known that those caused our problems. I mean, we knew that those were issues and we tried to fix them. But at the same time, it's almost just you want to give your team the chance to work it out. Versus, I felt like if we had lost, we would have been very adamant. Also, I just feel like it would have. The fire is different. Coming off a loss is different. And like I said, I feel like that was a big portion throughout that year because I felt like that was a big learning experience for me. Because at the end of it all, we were pretty good going into that. Yeah. And like I always just say that what happened that year is just a fluke thing. Because like that's really the only way that I can classify it. Because I didn't feel like it doesn't meet any of their criteria that would make me concerned about an athlete's future. And that there was no history of it at practice, so that's not an unprepared thing. People that really had a consistency being able to handle pressure, so it's not a pressure scared thing. To me, those are pretty big. A lot of times you can see mistakes coming sometimes. And I think you'll probably understand. Like you've been out there and you see someone drop. It's not like a shock. Like there's usually a trail. Like when Max dropped, it wasn't a shocker. Like we had seen him drop a lot going into that. This one was a fluke thing. Yeah. And sometimes that shit happens. Like that's the wild variable. Yeah. With all the stuff that goes on, there's always just the possibility that and it's not even, it's so minuscule that it doesn't even register on the scale, and it just happened. And that's the way I kind of looked at it, because like I felt like we were ready, and we had just gotten, but we was such a long road to get to that point. The way that we looked those last couple of weeks, it was a long road to get there.
That year was hard,
and we had to learn those lessons the hard way. And I felt like if we could have curved a lot of that earlier, or like I said, if we'd lost, we'd have been more adherent to it, and I think that it would have changed a whole lot of things.
I wouldn't even blame like the coaching staff on that. Like the big thing I remember from my senior year was how much we all disliked each other on that team. Like it was a hard year to go through, and we were just so ready for it to be over. But we were talented enough to do what y'all were asking us to do, but I don't feel like most of us wanted to be there in a sense. Like we were just sick and tired of each other, and we just wanted to be done and move on.
Because I knew you and Max always had some tension.
Yeah.
And it could be hostile. But also, at the same time, I usually let a lot of that shit slide because I thought it was good in the same breath.
It's very competitive.
Yeah, and I thought, like, this is how guys are on teams. Like, it's, it's a little rough, but I was like, but you guys are pushing each other.
Yeah,
and like it's very, and there's a lot of shit talking. Don't get me wrong. It's it would come off as very, very negative.
Yeah,
but it's in the same breath. You guys both liked it that way.
Yeah.
So it worked, and I felt like it was kind of indicative of a lot of what our personality is: stubborn but fucking determined.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was kind of the identity of this team, and. Like I said, I never thought that was bad. It never got to the point where it was hostile or the point where I didn't think that I could leave you guys in a room together or anything.
No,
like that.
it would
You were
never
just competitive with each other.
Yeah.
Like you both were. And I mean, it's no surprise. Like I'll sit here and say this in front of God and everybody. You two are the two best ones, period. Yeah. And it's not a shocker. The fact that you guys came up together, there's a parallel between you guys' journey that is, honestly, in my mind, is such a unique story. I feel like you two are intertwined in a lot of ways in my mind. It's hard for me to separate you guys. Yeah. You guys both came in, Max was alternate the year before you got there. Yep. So like really that's your first year guys going out there. You guys were mirror images of each other that senior year, that routine. Like the pyramids, everything.
Him on one side, me on the other.
It was really, I mean, you guys' routines were almost identical. You guys go from being teammates for 2 years and then there's a 3-year period where like you're up against each other. Both of you have the same goal to win. I got to see the beginning of it. And obviously you guys just competed against each other in partner stuff.
Yeah.
That's crazy that it went that long.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's teams out there that have people like that, but like for the two best guys that I've ever seen come out of our program, ever. And there's a lot of great talented guys that are out now, and there will be more. And I still don't know if any two will get to where you two got. Yeah. Like that's what we're talking about, generational. That I got to be there and witness that, and like the beginnings of this, I got to be a part of it, and like that's a really cool story. I don't know if it could ever possibly happen. I would love to get the two of you guys together one time and sit down.
We're actually a lot better now.
Yeah. Max told me like, because like even like I got to have conversations with Max a lot through like his college years, and I was like, and I asked him one time, maybe his first or second year, I was like, how do you kind of feel going against them? I was like, does that? We talked about it, and he's like, I honestly, I think it. He's like, I try to be a little bit more respectful about it. He's like, because I really don't want them to be mad at me. He's like, we're just competing. And he's like, I don't really want them to hate me. Like they're my brothers, and like I respect that. He's like, we just both want the same thing, and only one of us is going to get it. And I really like, because that's not the answer that I thought that I would get from him, or even from any of you guys at that point. But like, it really is a cool story. I think, and like I said, there's so much to that. Like in my mind, that there will always be that connection between you two, and I always feel special that I got like the first part of it, and I saw a part of it that most of the world never gets to see. Yeah. Like the whole world has seen you guys go at it, toe to toe, on the big stage. Like I got to see it in a room when it was just the three of us, and we're like, "Fuck you," it really is just it's a cool thing. Now you graduate in 2020. COVID happens. You ultimately decide to go to Shelton. What led to you deciding to go there, and what was it about that place that made you feel like this is the best option for me?
Yeah. So, coming out of high school, I don't have a tug. I'm not like I have some of the basic elites, like at that point in my career. So I know I'm not good enough to go compete at like a D1A school. And I had been talking to Jack Massa my entire senior year about like what his decisions were. And he basically kidnapped me for a weekend. And we get down to Tuscaloosa, have a Tuscaloosa time, and I'm locked in from there. Like the team's great. I love it. Like it's structure. But like not how Jennifer had structure. It's structure in the sense like I know I'm gonna get good here.
Yeah.
And so I end up there.
So obviously everything's a little bit different for you because it's COVID. Your tryouts are kind of different from probably what they would be, and we'll talk more about that when we get to your next year when you go through like the normal process. You guys don't do camp that year. When's the first time that you guys even get together?
That's a great question.
Because your tryouts were still kind of as normal, right?
Yeah,
like
it was before COVID, like right before we shut down, honestly. Then we get shut down. We have summer challenges, and I think it was July was our first practice back.
Yeah, because
Like
pretty
late
much.
July.
I mean, from the time that they shut us down in like mid-March,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were pretty much from that point on, we were out in the dungeon
Mm-hmm.
all the time, stunning like regularly. But
Yeah.
that was the only way that we were going to keep you guys ready for tryouts.
Yeah.
I mean, some people did virtual ones, but like you guys still came and did in-person tryouts. So like, obviously it's difficult when you're not working with the people that you're going to work with. But I feel like we could at least keep you guys maintained to where you were, so that put you in as normal of a situation to go back there as we normally could have. And then obviously like we were together that whole summer, stunning all the time, pretty regularly. And you guys, when did you guys go back to school?
So school was completely virtual for us. Like all of our classes were online. The only time I was on campus was for practice.
Yeah.
I think that started late August, like mid to late August. We started quote unquote school.
Yeah, and you guys, and you're still staying at the Grand, which is y'all's basically your dorm room, but it's your apartment
It's a frat
building,
house, basically.
basically. And I've been to the Grand on many occasions, and I've seen what is grand and how it's not so grand.
Ooh, yeah.
A little sketchy. I ain't gonna lie
That's
to
what
you.
was great about it, though, is because there was no rules and we could do whatever we wanted.
But you guys are, so you're still staying there. You're in Tuscaloosa. Obviously, you're not doing a lot of stuff online, and then you're just going over practices. Obviously, you're in college this is your first time going to college, and everything you're doing is probably on a laptop in your apartment.
Completely, yeah.
And then, pretty much, the only thing that you really have to worry about going to and doing is cheerleading.
100%.
Is that nice, or is it?
That's the most fun I've ever had in my life.
Just
School was a joke, and then all we wanted to do as a team was cheer and stunt. So it was great for like that aspect.
Now, when did you tear your ACL?
First practice back in summer. We ran our mile. Everyone had to do tucks. At this point, I was attempting to do a tuck, so I had a heavy spot. That was Jack Massa. Did my two. On my third one, came down, and I instantly knew what happened.
Now, just to clarify, how big would you say that you are weight range at this time?
About 300 pounds.
And how big would you say that Jack is at this
Maybe
time?
140, 150.
And he's spotting you.
Yep.
Do you have any other? You have no gymnastics background prior to that. Your tuck actually wasn't bad.
When it was good, it was pretty good.
Yeah, because like the guy from Kentucky spotted you,
Josh Baker.
and he was like, "Holy shit, this is not bad." He's like, "That's big tuck."
Big old tuck.
But yeah. So you tear your ACL on that. Do you ever throw your tuck again after that?
I've thrown it once on the trampoline.
But so you spend a whole lot down and out.
5 months, yeah.
5 months. Now, I've heard Jack told me the story of like when he had to pick you up at the hospital.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
You did the surgery and everything on your own.
Pretty
as
much,
a,
yeah.
As a kid, and you did Andrews do yours, Dr. Andrews?
Yes.
And he's the best.
Awesome.
Did you go to his office?
Yeah.
Did he still have the picture of Triple H?
Yep.
hanging up in the office. He had his quads done there. I think he had them done twice by that guy. But yeah, he's he's super renowned.
Oh,
though. Like
one of the
professional
greatest,
athletes
yeah.
from all over the world come to him to
He
get.
did Drew Reese, Joe,
Yeah.
Bo Jackson, all them. Yeah.
I mean, he's a very, very good, very well trusted and very well respected.
Very.
So, how was your recovery from that?
So, they initially told me it was going to be 9 months, but I'm stubborn and really determined, so I came back in 4. Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Toured in
Because-
July through my first stunt in late August. Nope, October, sorry.
In October.
Yeah.
When they put the routine together, when is that?
So it was COVID, so it was weird. So we had like known what stunts we were going to do in October, but we hadn't. We went full out once after Thanksgiving, and then they canceled it.
Yeah. Now, I've just curious question. I just want to know, just for the sake of knowing. Do you think you would have been ready if college nationals had been in January?
No,
No.
nowhere near. I was fully prepared to sit out that season before they canceled it. Yeah.
So you came, like you said, you came back in October. How long did it take you to start feeling like you were, at least back to where you were?
October, November, December, January, February. About March.
Is that
March, I
whatever?
could like go through the routine without pain.
Yeah. Just what would be like stunt level too? Like, did you feel like could you just walk in and do the same stunts you were doing, or did you feel like you had to relearn some stuff?
I walked in my first day. I threw up a full up one arm lib.
and just right back at it.
Well, because the entire time I was down, like I couldn't start standing up, so I would like work on full rounds and grips on the ground, laying on my back, and like floor stud. Like I was doing hand to hands on the floor.
Shit.
Yeah. The hardest thing to learn when I came back was a rewind because I couldn't bend my knee physically to get as low as I needed to.
Yeah, no, I feel that 100%. There's some stunts that I'm just like, I'm not that guy right now. Like I could do it, but like it's
gonna hurt like hell doing it.
Like please, I'll spot it.
Yeah.
We talked about that with some of the new stuff. But at what point is there any point during that season where you feel like things were kind of like drifting back to like a normalcy, or did like from there up until you guys get to nationals? Because nationals is fucked in general.
Yeah.
But like, is there any point in time where like some of the restrictions are coming off? You guys feel like it's getting more lenient about stuff?
So we didn't. The only really restriction we had is we had to wear a mask like on campus unless we were in the gym actively like doing cheer, which from practice, that's what we considered actively doing. We didn't have a lot of oversight with our athletic director. Like she knew what we were doing, but like she knew we could be great, and we had 13 years before to prove it. Yeah. So she kind of let BMO do her own thing, like as she needed.
Absolutely.
But it didn't really feel normal till after like, what was it, May? After like everything got settled and done, and we were quote unquote normal people.
So how many performances did you have before nationals?
One.
Where was that at?
Shelton State. We didn't go to Bama that year, and I don't remember doing a high school. We might have.
Well, Bama was on the fence of if they were even going. But you guys go to nationals. What was it like down there? From
the year before, it was like a ghost town. I mean, you had the people who were there, but we had to like. We used USF's mats, come to find out, because they bring mats every year just like let people use. Yeah. And we had to like have time slots for it. You wouldn't see another team until you were at the venue, and it was just like a ghost town.
So, mentally, how does that settle in? Because obviously, I feel like some of the intensity and the excitement, the anticipation of the build, that's not there. Or it feels like it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
Without, some of the environment. I always say it's the bullshit. You take it away, it doesn't change the fact that you still got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
This year's the testament that I'm speaking the gospel when it comes to that stuff.
So when we get there, we went to Bartow for like their showcase or whatever, and we ended up seeing Bartow there and Moorhead. So like the competitive aspect really came out there because we're finally seeing different people.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same 13 people we see every day. And so like that sparked a fire under us, that the practicing couldn't.
Yeah, just the interaction. Yeah. Seeing somebody else like, okay, fine.
Like they're doing good, so we can do good.
Yeah. So that's number. Now let's go into what goes on, because this is a weird thing. They've never done anything like this. It's kind of NCAA-ish, but it's got its own little stupid twist on it. So we have a 2-day competition because there's so few teams. Yeah. Obviously, they've done the virtual. Was it like a debate for you guys to go virtual or be in person?
No, we were going.
And like it was all three of y'all were there, weren't they? Mm-hmm. Iowa Western, Shelton, and Jones. Yeah. Now, they did the 2 days, and like I said, they weren't going to cut anybody. So what they did was they made part of your score from day one carries over to day two, in a 50-50. And that is, I mean, I'm not against it in some regards. My belief is like, if you have two really good teams that you both think could win, and team one hits the first time, team two drops, and then in finals, team one and team two hit, but you think team two's better. I think team one should win because they hit both days.
Yeah.
And I think it should matter in that context. I think it would be if you got down to like a tiebreaker scenario, it absolutely would, because that's in the rules. But I do think that should matter to a degree, which in this case, all of you guys have a fucking chance to win.
Yeah.
50-50 is a little firm, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But especially because like the first time you're out there, it's like we did this in McCracken. It's a chance to get a feel for the floor, feel the arena. And like in this point, you're in the arena. We're clarifying this. My dogs ran in, and now we're clarifying everything. So, for the first round, you guys are in
the castle,
the milk house.
Yes,
it's got all kinds of different State Farm Field House. I used to call it the milk house. It's always going to be the milk house to me. I don't know why I called it the Milk House.
That's what it was called back in the day.
Okay, well then I guess that's why. I never even really officially knew when I found out it was called the State Farm Field, I was like, maybe it was just that all the time.
Well, when I was in high school, it was the HP Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
And then when I got to college after COVID, they changed it to the State Farm Arena.
So somebody else bought the rights. I don't know. Who knows? Fuck. Same arena, just different name in front of it. So you're there, venue that you're familiar with.
Very, yeah.
So a little bit of that process is the same. When you go into this, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that we practice so hard and we are so prepared at Shelton that, like, if we go out there, we do our job.
Yeah.
Obviously, in semis, we did not. We ended up dropping the cheer, and I dropped my ending stunt, which was a toss QB before the ending pyramid.
Yeah.
And we also had, like, 2 other drops in semis, so it was not a good performance whatsoever.
Yeah. I remember Jennifer calling me after the performance.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't down there, and she was here talking to you guys, and I was talking to you guys like all throughout the day.
Yeah.
You, Jack, Ethan, Mac. I was talking to all of y'all, and like, I was like, and Jennifer called me. She's like after this, she's like, we can't ever not go. She's like, one of us has to go every year, and it's usually her.
Yeah.
Because I don't roll like that. just money bags over there. But like we were like, I felt like I was like, damn, is it gonna be like this all the time? Because like it wasn't like that with me and them obviously, but like we just very much felt like we were involved with a lot of you guys, at least with that first year. Because I mean, I think so much stuff is different, and I feel like you guys just always kind of came back to what you're familiar with, and like. I mean, we always talk like before, but this was a little bit more than a lot of that. It kind of felt kind of like if we were your coaches, we were kind of in that shoes. And I mean, we weren't like doing anything to step on anybody's feet or anything like that. We were just reassuring you guys of all the things that you had to do. But I remember us being a little bit more involved with all of you guys, probably than what I would be at any other point in time. You know, I mean, there's some like if any other kid ever has a hiccup, they hear from me.
Yeah.
You know, we talk and they get their shit straight, and I just think I know stuff that I don't. But you know, that's uncommon. So you guys have a rough performance. You guys have more stuff that comes down than just what you're involved with. Like you guys have a pretty rough performance. Jones's performance was pretty decent. I think they had a mistake or something.
They had one drop, but it was a lot better than dropping the chair.
Yeah. And you guys got molested on the deduction sheet.
Bad.
How was it? It was double digits, wasn't it?
I think it ended up being 12 points in deductions.
Yeah, it was a lot. 12.
Don't know how we made it through.
Yeah. Well, everybody got through.
If it wasn't for that.
In traditional sense, that would have been the kill shot at that point, because at this point they weren't letting all 3 teams advance. Only 2 of you guys were advancing to finals in the traditional format that they had. Obviously, this is different. Where were you guys at position wise? Third.
100% third. Iowa also had a bad, but it wasn't 12 points in deductions bad.
Yeah, I think they had 8. They had a big number.
Yeah.
Jones was like comfortably
Jones had
ahead.
like 3 or 4.
Yeah, but they
compared to 12.
Compared to 8, 12. You know, I know which one I'd rather take.
Yeah.
So, and then you guys come back the next day. Mm-hmm. When you go to the hotel or when you go back to your room, like what's going on? Because obviously
go back to the room.
There was no go back to the room.
It was go change and I'll see you on the mats. It was not pretty.
Yeah.
We ran that cheer probably 45 times at nationals right after semis.
A long day.
Very.
Yeah.
Very.
Was it? I mean, just how were you? You.
Because
you've been a part of some train wrecks.
No.
Don't get me wrong, we had some bad ones in McCracken, but nothing like this and nothing like on that stage yet. I'd catch up to you.
Yeah.
I'd rectify. Well, they had it. I hadn't had it yet, and I would eventually. I'm like, I'm in the club now. So, but yeah, like, what where are you? Because I obviously like. It's different too, because I feel like Shelton has a pretty firm history at this point. Like how many consecutive 13 titles
13
in a row.
Yeah.
A big fucking deal, right? I'm sure you have to like any place that's got tradition and but like it becomes its own thing in a lot of ways. It's like a, I hate to say it like this because you have to win a championship in order to do that, but it's almost like winning the championship in some way is secondary to upholding what the standard of your program
That's
is.
100% what it was.
And that's a weird animal because it's like you have to achieve this thing for this to happen to some scope. I mean, I don't necessarily think that you always have to, but like in this situation when you're on a streak and you're trying to keep it, it does apply to that.
Very.
And like that's a fucking animal to balance. Like I mean, we've been on smaller streaks. 13 is an unholy big number, and there's not, Louisville
All Girls, the only other team that comes close, and they have 9.
Yeah, I mean, let's put this in perspective. Canterbury at Greenup has won 17 times in 45 years.
Yeah.
You guys won 13 in 13 years.
Yep.
That's a crazy concept. Now it's high school, college.
Yeah. Still.
Some differences, but like, before Shelton State came along, Wallace State was pretty dominant in that division for a long time, and then it just kind of shifted. And now we've kind of like settled into like it's a fucking war zone now. Like it's one of the most competitive divisions that
it's my favorite
is.
to watch.
Yeah, because
love it.
It's a lot of young, hungry people just scrapping
Throwing stuff.
Yeah,
and
the difficulties picking up. Like and the fact that I could look at all three of them, like they all three could win. There's going to be one definitive out of the pack every year, but it rotates now. It's not one team is always going to be the best team every year, and I think that's probably where they've always wanted it to be. Now, was this year that you guys was this the first year that they bumped the numbers up?
What do you mean?
Like allowed more people on the floor?
I'm not sure. I think it's the second year of it.
Yeah, because one year it was like 16, and then they bumped it.
Yeah, 19
they bumped it up
16.
to like they bumped it up a little bit one year, and then another year they bumped it up a little bit more. Like, I mean, ultimately it's only 3 more people, or 3 or 4 more people, but like they kind of like broke that down into waves, and I felt like when that happened, there was kind of a ripple effect at the top end, especially like because this kind of coincides with Kentucky and Jomo leaving, and then I felt like. Now there's more pressure to put more stunts in the air.
Yeah.
So there's more pressure to take more people because you need more stunts. And a lot of people struggle in that growth. Like when we were move up divisions, people don't understand how hard it is to put up one more stunt. Yeah. And like, now, especially when you guys are South Florida, like there's a section of your routine where you guys will throw 9 stunts. And like that used to be fucking unheard of. The max you would see before that was like 7.
Yeah.
And like even the elites, like, I remember, you got to throw at least 6. The difference between 5 and 6 is a huge difference in what the hardest thing that you can throw is.
100%, yeah.
Because like you could have 5 guys with a 1-to-1, and that 6th guy can't fucking hit it. Well, we're not throwing it, and it's, it changes aspects. But I think overall it's been good. But I didn't know if that had gone on this year because I feel like that. Like I said, I feel like that really had a ripple effect because that's going on. Kentucky comes down, South Florida emerges, then you've got Alabama and UCF that were sucking up as much talent as they could because people were really uncertain about when Kentucky went down. So, like, things are now, the puzzle pieces are shifting. Plus, you've got the merger of West Georgia and the Moorhead division, and now they're going to be hunting more people, and now they're like, and it becomes I don't know if people knew it, but, like, between that rule change and the fall of Kentucky and the merger, those 3 things completely shifted the ground, at least from the co-ed perspective, completely shifted the whole fucking thing on its head because now it's like South Florida, Central Florida, Bama, Kentucky, all 4 have a chance.
Yeah.
Legitimately.
Even
Legitimately. And Oklahoma too. Yeah. Oklahoma's been moving up.
They're doing pretty good.
Yeah. So you got, and Ohio State was always close in that conversation before, so like, but to have 4 or 5 teams that legit, and then you look at same thing with JUCO, all 3 of those teams legit have a chance to win, and then you got West Georgia and Moorhead and 2 other co-ed divisions going head to head, and it's a bloodbath. And then at some point, it will happen at some point down the road that they're both going to push so far, and they're both going to bite off a little bit more than they can chew. It will happen. And then the 3rd wheel will come out of nowhere, and you won't know who it is. Again, at some point these things will, but like it's definitely way more competitive now than it ever has been. And I felt like those things all went into factor, and you're right in the middle of a lot of these things happening. Because I mean, you could say like from what you knew the year before to what you would know the next year, how drastically that world changed. And that's one thing that I'm always curious about, like. If the the numbers had an impact here because I feel like a lot of people were going through that, where you were seeing a lot of people have mistakes because they weren't used to having to. But like I said, that 1 or 2 extra stunt groups it's a bitch. But now people have gotten used to it.
Yeah.
You know, it about a 4 or 5 year stretch, and we're at that stretch. And like, look at what happened to this Nationals. This is one of the best fucking Nationals I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
You know, the execution was through the roof. I mean, the skills are insane. You know, I feel like the numbers and the things, plus game day, you can have 10 million more people on your team now. But it's
30 people.
But it's opportunity for 30 more people to be on your team and to be around and to learn and to get the instruction. Like, and it's boom. Plus, high school is like, well, we're going to let you do this now. We're going to let you do that.
High school is insane nowadays.
So like the recruits that you're getting in are ridiculous now, and it's just going to keep going further and further. Mm-hmm. So like now you might lose these guys that you've had for 5 years, but now I'm bringing this kid who's like 75% of the way to where this person's going to be, and like it's whole landscape's changed. You're kind of in the middle of this shift.
It's no man's land.
Yeah, and like you've made it to where you are now, but this is obviously the first go around. So finals, you guys have a much better go around this time.
That we do. But with it being 50-50, I mean, they did have such a better performance than we did day one. Yeah. That's what it ultimately came down to.
Yeah, because, well, Jones did not have a great second day performance. They struggled quite a bit. They pretty much flipped and did what you... I mean, they were pretty close to the number of deductions. There was a small discrepancy. It was very small, but it was very similar to what you guys did the day before. But because of the way the scoring... And the people talk, you know, where some of the drops happened.
Yeah.
The cheer drops.
And we also did not hit in finals either. We did have another key down.
Yeah. Where the drops happen matter because of how they affect your score. Like a drop in the cheer is bad because it brings everything in the cheer down. Yeah. So even though you might get hit with the deduction, it's the where it chips you in certain parts hurts you more than if you dropped in this part because of how it affects the overall. And the cheer's so category. You know, it's so everything's built off one another. And that, you know, those things hurt. Yeah. You come in second place. How do you feel after this?
I'm discouraged, but I'm ready to, like, go back and prove the next year.
Yeah. Which we're going to get into a little bit more and more detail than we could with that last one. Okay, so coming back your second year, you do another year at Shelton, and obviously you get to have a pretty normal year at this point. So you do your tryouts. How do you feel about the tryouts? Is it just like a normal thing to you? Like, you even nervous at this point?
Nah.
Like, how many people did y'all lose?
Half the team.
Half the team?
Yeah, it was half seniors, half fresh years.
Yeah, because I knew there was quite a few that were, like Jack, and, you know, I knew he was gone. And there were several guys, I think, that I had met up there that I knew were coming out. So how many new people do you bring in?
So at Shelton, it's weird because we take however many people are met, and maybe 1, 2, 3 alternates. So we end up losing, I want to say 6 people, and end up taking 8.
So you're pretty much what you got is what's getting used for the most part.
100%.
And then, like I said, everything will go at a normal pace. Mm-hmm. So like you guys are going to do all that. You probably don't meet up again until closer to camp after tryouts.
At Shelton, we never went to camp. We always had home camps.
Always at home camps.
Yeah.
So you didn't travel to the UC?
Nope.
That's crazy because like they used to do the one in Tuscaloosa. Because I used to go in Shelton.
Well, they didn't do Bama camp. We were going to go, but BMO, for some reason, decided not to take us that year. But the next year they went to Bama camp.
Well, let's talk about that. Because you went from Jennifer to BMO. How are they different? And how are they the same? Because both of them have fucking scare me energy.
Yes.
And
they're night and day different. But Jennifer is one of the most organized people you'll ever meet. And it's not that BMO doesn't care about you. Jennifer is almost a mother, in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, when you need her, she's always going to be there. Where BMO is... She's Satan at practice and not your friend outside of practice. Yeah.
She very much keeps the structure of the
she's
job.
Coach.
Yeah.
For sure, she's coach.
Well, they always say, I've always told you guys, like, they're not going to fucking baby you when you get there. She's probably the definition of that.
100%.
But, two, obviously she's working with adults. Mm-hmm. You know your responsibilities. Yeah. You should be responsible for it. So that's... Yeah. We coddled people a lot.
It's high school, you have to.
You know, and it's... Yeah, absolutely. But obviously this is different because you guys... And also that you guys are getting paid, essentially, to be there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's...
Yeah, we better be doing our job.
We're fucking giving you something. You know, like that's kind of the mindset of that. So you don't do the camp. You come back as normal. Obviously, so what's different now? Like you guys are cheering games. You get to do that. Are there any other things that you guys kind of do that you normally do that you didn't get the year before? Because like I remember they used to do like the Meet the Tribe stuff back
so
then.
we always did that, and this second year everything was more relaxed. Like you don't have someone staring at you seeing if you have a mask on when you're outside.
Yeah.
Like we get to do Meet the Tribe. It wasn't good, but it was very like how it used to be.
Yeah.
And the main difference was the timeline. Like it was back to normal. Like so we just competed in April the year before. We had tryouts in May. So we had pretty much 2 weeks to turn around and figure out what you're doing for tryouts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would assume just the sense of normalcy alone kind of feels like its own form of motivation.
Yeah.
Like it's
We got through it.
yeah. I think it makes things because you know when you go without it, like it may be stuff that you hate fucking doing.
Yeah.
But like when you go without it and you realize how important it, you know, it kind of puts things in perspective and like it may still suck, but I think you're a little bit more appreciative of some of the things. I think this is kind of what it is like we're just relieved that we get to come in here and suffer today together, and I don't have to wear a mask when I suffer today. That's awesome.
On the mask.
Yeah. So, now how would you describe like a normal season? Like your practices, like at least early on, they're really geared probably towards
skill based.
So is it because BMO had told me once that she would take any guy that I sent to her because when they got there, all the basics were good.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal for a lot of reasons.
Very big deal.
You know, typically you guys probably spend a lot of time just working basics, getting comfortable with your teammates.
The first 3 months are basics.
Yeah, and what at this time is definition of a basic stunt?
So at Sheldon, it's a toss extension, toss lib, toss QP, and my second year ended up being a full up.
Yeah.
And we do this thing called 3 up, 3 down. So basically, you stand up in a circle, and on the same count, everyone builds up an extension. We all pop off together. The next count, build up a toss lib, pop off together, and a QP, pop off together. If we didn't hit that together, then we just kept doing it until we got it together.
One thing that I get iffy about with the touching of stunts, especially in high school, is that you're hindering their ability to be able to do things like this. And basic stunts, you have to be able to do them unassisted. And obviously we prided all of our boys on that's how we really wanted to do that. That was a big deal for us because when our kids got to college, they would typically do better because they're more prepared. They don't have to go through all this stuff. So that's one of the things that I really push against. Like, you know, it's getting better. I think a lot of touching is primarily on inversions now. But, you know, like in a college routine, like you can throw everything up to a full up. Yeah. You don't have to have a spot. No. So if you can't hit it by yourself, well, shit.
There's a difference between saving a stunt and then doing the stunt for somebody.
Yeah.
That's where the big difference is.
Yeah.
In high school.
Because, you know, I think in college, like a lot of times you like, there's a lot more touching now because of the assistance on dismounts. It puts them higher, makes them safe, keeps it guaranteed, and I don't blame people for doing that. Because you'll see a lot of guys like they'll just stroke a stunt and then the guy touches it kind of after the fact.
Dismount, yeah.
But yeah, that's fine. I have no problems with stuff like that. But like there are people that you see that
it's
like
stunt.
if this dude was not there, it's not hitting.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not hitting at the top. He's touching the ankles. My grip is trash. It's like he's got a better grip than me. You know, I hate that trash. Hate it. She don't like it either. No. Not a lot of people do. Because you guys did, it's probably with Jack. Like I did like the back handspring ups.
We did extended hand-to-hand, front roll out, back handspring up.
Yeah. And then some of the guys were getting the help on the double down.
Yeah.
A little bit. Some of them. Brandon wasn't. Cause
he was there to look pretty, but no, that was my skill.
Yeah. So, but you see a lot of that. And that's not what I gripe on. You know, it's just like, if it fucking couldn't hit with one guy and one girl, I just don't.
Yeah.
Eventually, everyone will come back to seeing it the way that I do because eventually we're going to get to a point where everything's going to bottom out. Or we're going to top out.
Yeah.
And like you can't go any further, and eventually everyone's going to catch up. And the only way that you can make it different is by doing it by yourself doing it to certain immediate skills. So like, eventually it's going to level out. We just got to hit that curve. I got to be patient. In the end, it all corrects itself, and that's just the way that it goes. So, are you in more of a leadership role going into this year than you would be the year before?
A little bit, but we still had Jack Mass on the team, and that's forever going to be like Sheldon State's leader. It's Jack Bass.
Because Jack was going to be third year.
Yeah, he third year that year.
So, you guys have that.
Yeah. And
he's kind of going to be like your anchor. And Jack's a pretty good person to have at the helm of anything. I've talked about Jack on other stuff. But yeah, pretty solid. And he's got the advantage of being the guy that remembers the normal year.
Well, and he's the last person to hit before they just won this year.
Yeah.
That was on the team with us.
So it's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
Very consistent guy. And he was super, super fucking talented. Especially for his size. Yeah. Insanely good. So how much, because obviously, like, we haven't talked about this a lot either, but you're also cheering with Jack, who you cheered with 1 year at McCracken, and now you've got 1 year with him at Shelton. And Ethan, who you cheered with, same thing. You pretty much, I mean, your first year at that point was the only time you hadn't been with Ethan. Yeah. It was your third year. So, and then a lot of the guys on your team, too.
We also picked up the Hazel. Well, one of the Hazels.
Yeah, you got one of the Hazels. Awesome pickup, right?
Yep.
And then you got the guys from Graves. So there's a lot of people from in the area that you know.
Yeah.
How is that? Like, because some people want to go and just get the fuck away from everybody.
Yeah.
It's pretty much like your own. And then we're also coming up there pretty regularly. Like
Very much so.
to stunt and go to clinics and stuff like that. And like, there was a little bit of a time here where our programs were really kind of intertwined in a lot of ways. I think we were. Yeah, and it was really nice. I mean, we benefited from that a lot, and I think that we gave out the right and good people.
Yeah.
So how does that dynamic? Because obviously that's going to be something different when you get to South Florida.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have some people follow you, but it's not like this.
No.
Because this is a different element, different maturity level, different. I mean, some things are the same, but it's all different.
Yeah.
How does having people like that, did it bother you, or was it a good thing?
With the people it was, I think I benefited from it a lot.
Yeah. In what ways? Like, is it just...
There were a few people that, like you said, I did want to get away from, and I did. But with the people that obviously was making the 6-hour trip, they wanted to get better. They wanted to move on. So it was very, like, refreshing seeing the younger generation want to be great.
And you just want to... Essentially what you want, you just want people that are going to match your energy and at least pursuit.
Want to be here.
So, and that's, that's a contagious thing. I read something the other day about... the 5 people that you keep closest to you are the people that you'll try to emulate in your life. And if you've got people that have like negative or, certain things that you would like a lazy person, you'll gravitate towards being like that because that's in your close group. And like we kind of mimic and feed off each other. So when you bring up stuff like that, that's important too, because of what you guys are trying to do, and you understand what your program's legacy is and how important that is. You guys just lost. You want to come back and win. So there's all that is kind of rolling into this factor. How would you say that practice? Did you guys feel like you guys were pretty lit up from the year before?
At the beginning, whenever stuff wasn't going well, we were very much like, we're not doing this again. Like, we're changing something to win. Yeah. So that if that means we're going to work harder, that's what we're going to do. Did
you feel better about this team than you did the year before?
In certain aspects, yeah. I felt like the majority of this team wanted to be there because, like, who wants to go to a losing team? And that's the first time we lost. So obviously you're coming for a reason, and that reason is to change things. The skill level wasn't as good as it was the year before.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, you're losing so many people.
We're losing returners and getting first years, so obviously it's not. But it ended up, I think, working out better because they wanted it that much more.
Yeah. Well, I always liked, like my last year at McCracken, we just brought in so many young people.
The fire.
And it was like, I mean, it's been such a drastically different landscape of what the team looked like from a year ago. It was so refreshing in a long sense. And like, it's like new people to make an impression on, new people to curb. Because like sometimes like people get stuck in a way for so long, and it's just, at this point, I can't take you any further. Yeah. You're capable of going further. I am too. But we together have kind of hit that point where we're not going to progress anymore. And then another generation comes in, and we kind of just skyrocket through some of the stuff, and it just, that's how it goes. But that's the same way for all of us and everywhere you go. Yeah. Like, Because obviously, I'm sure when you felt like you left Shelton, like you probably felt like I've gotten what I need to get from here.
Yeah.
Because you could have stayed, and could have third year. That was an option for you.
It was a big option, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously you went a different route, and it's not because you don't like them or anything. No. Like you kind of reached the point where I felt like it's best for me to go. Yeah, absolutely. So, this is this your first time doing like the suffering? That's what I call it. That month of December.
In college, yeah.
Because you guys didn't really have that before.
No, it was again 11-month season the year before. Yeah.
All right, so walk me through your time in Paradise and what we mean by. I want you to define this very clearly because I remember what mine was like.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how much it's evolved because basically what would happen we would start like some full outs maybe like late November, like after things. We might throw one before, but really. Like while we're fucking trying to do finals, we're doing some full outs and getting ready. And then as soon as school ends, and I swear to God, if they found out that none of us had class before then, we would start it sooner.
Oh, yeah.
It's welcome to hell. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to describe it. It. For us, it was like we did 2 days every fucking day, 7 days a week. And typically, minimum 3 full outs per practice, plus just the hammering. I mean, and sometimes it's worse.
Yeah.
How was yours?
So the second year of Shelton, we started national season mid-October. That's when choreo, we're running sections, all that stuff. The second it turned November 3rd, we are going full out until it hits. And buddy, do we go full out? We probably went 6 times that first day. Whew. Like it was awful. And then after that, it's go until you hit. And whether that would be we're going twice, or that be we're going 8. We're going until we get more than one hit in the day.
I question, and I'm curious about this. You have a pretty similar workload in comparison between high school and college. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, there's a huge skill gap. Do you notice any kind of difference, honestly? Because, I would say, like, your senior year of high school and probably, like, this year at Shelton, you're probably more advanced than what you're being asked to do. So, is there really any difference in how you view these skills? Like, does that ever register to you? Like, does it feel like it's the same basic thing as what I had to do before? Because, like, there were times when I felt like elements of the high school routine were fucking more exhausting.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, the cheer is longer.
The cheer is awful.
Holding stunts longer. And I felt like if I can get through the cheer and the routine, like, that was the part that always killed me in routines. In college, it wasn't nearly as bad because it was 10 seconds shorter. Things are moving a little bit quicker. Now, all the shit I've done before that was harder. But I was on small. So, like, I was fucking in everything. Yeah. But, like, and it's different because, like, before when I was in high, like, it wasn't that case. I was large, so I didn't have to be anything. But I actually felt like the pace and the movement of the collegiate routine was better for me. Yeah. And I felt like I didn't have to let things get exhausted. Even though the routine's harder, it almost felt easier.
You're moving faster.
It just felt easier in a sense.
Yeah.
Anything like that translate to you? Does that sound?
Like you said, like, I am the workhorse, and, like, I'm there to stunt. Like, I'm not flipping. I'm not showing off in the chair. I'm underneath something working my ass off. And in a sense, like, no offense to JD Rue whatsoever. I love her to death. But that second year at Shelton, it was like, all right, good luck. Figure this out. And that's what it felt like for a very long time until it clicked. Yeah. And then after it clicked, it was easy.
So, how long does your suffering last?
Through nationals.
All the way up until?
We are going, at Shelton, at least we got Sundays off, so we go to church most of the time. But that's what you're doing is cheer.
Basically, I'm giving you 24 hours to pray to God for the next week of your life.
Yeah, so
essentially,
yeah. Shelton, we ran it. We would practice from 9 to around noon, maybe. Yeah. Get 2 hours, maybe 3, depending on what BMO is going through that day for lunch, and then we're gonna practice at night until it's good. And then turn around and do it the next day. And then the next day.
9 o'clock's not too bad, though. That's pretty nice.
No, it was nice.
Nine's not bad.
Well, you also have to remember she had 3 kids at this point.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, she needed time to get them out of the house and then whatever she was dealing with in her personal life. Yeah. Which, kudos to her. She was stronger than I could have been in this point. Yeah. So, what her cards were dealt was shit.
Yeah.
And she did what she needed to.
She found a way to get some money out of a shitty hand.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even if you got to bluff your way to get there.
Yep.
If you can get the wrong person to fold, and sometimes it's that bitch called life that'll fold on you, yo.
Definitely.
That's how I describe it. Like, yeah. So, you guys, a lot of y'all stuff is at Ace during this time?
At this point in time, yeah.
Or like,
if we couldn't get in Shelton because of basketball, we were at Ace before Bama could get there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever do a lot of stuff crossover with Bama during this time?
So when I was there, no. Years before, yeah. But for some reason, my years, I mean, we would party with Bama, we would stunt with them at open gyms, but never practice. If they were practicing, we were not. Like, we were at Shelton if they were at Ace, and if they were in Coleman, we were at Ace.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's just a thing.
I don't know, but this past year with Riley and Beth, they did a lot with Bama. Yeah, which I think is beneficial because you have the older kids there who are well more experienced and can help if needed.
Did they both go to Bama?
Yeah. So
they both did they both cheer at Shelton?
Bethany did. Riley cheered at Auburn and then transferred to Bama. Beth did Chris's last year at Shelton and then followed her to Bama.
They're pretty. Are they? What do you think? I met them that last time I went to Shelton. I saw them stunned. They're definitely fucking qualified.
Oh, yeah.
They were working on their Team USA stuff, and it's like, I haven't spent a lot of time with them, but they seem like they're not. And obviously, they just came off of winning, so I just haven't. I'm curious to see what the differences between them and BMO were, but obviously we're not 100% gonna know.
I know Beth and Riley outside of the cheer world. Mm-hmm. There's some Riley especially is one of my best friends, and they're the type of people that are going to do anything for anybody that deserves it. Yeah. And whether their big thing is work ethic, and those kids had it this year. They came together and they didn't even have toss hands as a team. I saw them at camp and it was brutal. So they took that and completely flipped it.
That's a pretty big gap.
No, yeah, it was bad. They completely went from 0 to winning this year.
Yeah.
So
how much of an impact do you think that they had? Because obviously you like them a lot.
Yeah.
What, do you think that they did some things differently? What do you think?
I think that they realized what they had, and they truly did start from ground zero instead of trying to force something that they weren't ready for.
Yeah.
So what they had, they could have easily competed full ups and maybe had one fall, but instead they did clean ass toss libs, and it won.
They relied on building their foundation.
Very much, yeah.
So I'm happy for them. Glad that they had the success. Glad that they won. Because it's a lot of times when you see teams stop winning in the JUCO division, a lot of times they fall off, and that's kind of been the history. Obviously, it's great that we're not at that point. The last 3 years, we had 3 different champions. That's cool, and UCA loves that because it's great for competitive. It's great for ratings. It's great for recruitment. It's great for legitimacy. When literally, there's only 3 teams in the division. But all 3 of them can win. Or there's 4 now.
Yeah,
there's 4 now.
3 competitive.
Yeah, but there used to be only 3 for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think this is the first year that there was a new one, wasn't it? Maybe they were there last year.
Yeah, since Wallace dropped out. This is the first time in a long time.
So this is the first time in a long time that there's been not disrespectful to them. It's just if you're new to the show, I'm sorry. I'm not knocking you, but that's a pretty big deal. 75% of your division has a chance to win. Yeah. Could you imagine that? Y'all's is close to 25%. Yeah. But that still feels like a lot, probably. It's actually less numbers, but who fucking cares?
It's close.
It's pretty close. So, here's my question, and this is probably it's not really essential to your thing. Do you know you're leaving yet?
No. I'm fully convinced I'm third yearing at this point.
Yeah, so you're on trail.
Yeah.
So from here, you go into finals. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you guys had the 2 rounds this year. Mm-hmm. How's the first round go?
We had some falls, but it was a lot better than the first round the year before, so we were excited about that.
What's the feeling like after that? Because now, it's not really any different, but young team,
very
obviously, and some of them do. Most everybody's got cheerleading experience of some kind, so but obviously it's just different. How do you handle that? Or how do you?
So, with Jack being our all fearless leader, he was very much if we hit, we win. And that's been the name of the game since I started. We have to hit. Yeah. And we had known in the warm-up room, they have the TVs and we can see who's going. And as we're warming up, we're all having the sense of air, but watching the TVs, and we see them fall 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So we're here we go. Like, we can do
Yeah.
this. So we're hyped going onto the stage. Then we get onto the stage, and we see, I watch the stunt come down, the extended hand-to-hand with Peter. I'm in the back row, but we're aligned with each other, and I'm facing him. So as I'm up in the extended, like, I can see him not up. So we get down, I have it in my head, like, we have one, like, we have to be perfect.
Yeah.
And then we get through the cheer, thankfully it hit. Then we get to the toss cupies once again. And I'm up, and I'm not even looking. I'm completely looking across the floor at him, and I see him drop again.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm heartbroken. I don't even want to do this ending pyramid. Mind you, that's the best ending pyramid we've ever thrown all year. Like,
Yeah.
it never looked that good, and we finally hit it in finals, but it didn't mean anything. Like, we had lost at that point.
Yeah. That was finals, right?
Yeah.
That's your perception of that. Yeah. So, and I don't mean to ask this question to be an asshole, but just curious to how you feel about it. Because I wondered, because I had kids that went through this at Graves.
Yeah.
Like, program that's really good, that has a history for winning, and you were there for a couple years and you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Does it, I don't want to use the word bother you, because it honestly it shouldn't, because it's not like, one of those things. But like, do you ever think about that? Is there any kind of reflection on that? Because like, I always felt really bad that like I had guys at Graves that like, he was here for 1 year and he just happened to be the 1 year in the middle of our winning spree. Like, he's the only kid that walks out here that, didn't do that. And obviously this is like, because it's not just you.
Yeah.
Obviously you have a big fucking group of people with you.
Yeah, we have an entire class without a ring.
I don't know. Is that kind of like...
It sucks.
But I don't know. I guess I'm saying is it a motivational key for you? Because like, I could see myself, like, it would drum me the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would... But I also feel like if I lean on that real heavy, it would convince me to come back.
Yeah.
Because I would feel like I've got some kind of unfinished... Like, I would just want to check the... But it's, in your case, like I said, I think bigger places are wanting you to do bigger things than what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the contrast. And I just... I feel like I knew like some of my kids would have their ass chapped about it. Like if I had kids that came through like a whole run at McCracken and never won, I'd be so disappointed.
Yeah.
And that's happened since then.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just me as a coach, I would feel bad for them and bad, because you want everybody to have the same success. And I'm sure BMO feels that way. Like I can't imagine that she doesn't. She speaks highly of you as much as you guys frustrate each other. She does speak highly of you.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know if that could kind of really, because like you really fucking explode after this year, and that's one of the reasons why I'm asking, is because there is a significant shift in what you are capable of doing that takes place not long after that.
Yeah.
I didn't know if this has pissed me off and now I'm gonna go fucking on a warpath, or if you just, it's like it's time. There's nothing left just to go. Like, how do you get to where? Because, I mean, you're a really solid hand.
Yeah.
Like, really, really good. And a lot of people would be lucky to have you. But we're taking a shift here. It happens very quickly.
Very.
From, I'm a really good guy, really great standout on a JUCO, but, like, if you went to D1A at this time, you'd just kind of be, like, in there.
Yeah.
And now, like, you can put the weight of the world on me, and I'm fucking here to go. That happens very quickly right after this time period. How does that happen?
It was really one of those things, like, losing sucked, and, like, I had gotten to the point after nationals where I was like, a big reason of why I wanted to come back is because I didn't know where I could go, because I am a guy who can't tuck, and a lot of D1 schools don't do that, and I wasn't really wanting to go D2. Like, I had gone to Moorhead and looked at that, but the thing that, like, really made my mentality shift was, like, I'm gonna be that person that no matter who you give me, it's going to be up. Like, I don't care if I have the worst goal on the team. Like, we're going to hit this goal and make sure, like, I'm not the reason.
Yeah.
And so that was a big fire that really had me, like, take off. And, like, the excitement of hitting new skills. Like, you dream about hitting some of these skills. Like, I've seen Riley Fowler, Jordan Olson, Colin. Like, those are the only people I've seen in person, like, do some of this stuff. And I'm like, I want to be that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy that, like, I mean, you're very much there.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of people would look at, I mean, I've said it before, I think a lot of people would look at you and be like, there are people that will spend a lot longer in this than you have that won't touch where you're at. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
And there are, I always say, I mean, we have a much bigger percentage of high schoolers that get to cheer in college probably than there are most athletes. It's still a lot of fucking people that don't even get that, don't even get beyond that. Mm-hmm. And then you have a lot of people that are just, they're there. Like, we're surviving. We can be good, but like, we're just here to be good. And I've always said it's about 6% of the teams that go realistically have a chance to win. About 6. Yeah. And you're a prominent feature on one of those teams in the 6%. That's a fucking, mathematically, I can tell you exactly where the fuck you are. Yeah. You know, like that's 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 a fucking thing. And to go from the football boy who's like, oh, I can do a toss extension. I don't know how to catch her.
Nope, don't know what to do after that.
And this is about 4-year time span that we're talking about. 2 from I don't know shit to I'm getting ready to like be. I call them like the cheerleading Avengers is basically like these super fucking phenomenal. Like what we do is crazy, and like we forget that. Yeah. There's layers to this fucking madness, and you're deep in that shit. Yeah. But okay, so when do you decide you're gonna leave? Mm-hmm. How do you get to that point? And because you had said you talked to Moorhead too, so like. Obviously, you're looking at a couple different places. Yeah. When do you think about going? What convinces you to go, or where do you get to that point?
Yeah, so I went to a Moorhead clinic, had a really good conversation with Mark. Like he's known me since I started. He was our choreographer, so like Moorhead was always like a dream school. Went there, we had a really good conversation. Like I don't tuck, and I didn't want to compete the same skills I had just competed for 2 years. So small co-ed really wasn't my route that I wanted. Love him, love his program, love what he's doing. And then we have a clinic. It's either late February, early March, one of the two. And Peter Newman looked at me. So Ronnie had done his choreography in high school. And Peter had always promised Ronnie, like, yeah, I'll come down like one time for a clinic. So he looked at me right after our clinic, said, hey, I'm going to Florida. You want to come? I said, shit, I ain't got nothing else to do. Let's go. Go home, shower, pack. We leave an hour after the clinic's over. And we drive that, I want to say it's 9.5 hours all the way to Tampa, get there at 3 a.m, and our clinic starts at 9. Yeah.
So you get to Florida, and you're going to this clinic. Take me from there.
Yeah, so funny enough, one of my best friends on South Florida, his name's Gabe Rodriguez. We get put in the same little group at this point, and like South Florida has been a building program like for the past couple of years, and like they're building up to what they are now. And so like they wanted me to start with clinic girls, and I'm like, absolutely not. I just got done doing my own clinic. I'm not doing that. So me and Peter make our own group with a girl called Tatum Real. She cheered at UCF for a year, absolutely hated it, and came to USF to like try to figure out this is what she continued to do. So Ronnie sees me, Peter, and Tatum all sung together. He comes over and starts talking to us. And from then on, it's just like, yeah, this feels like home. Like I had been looking for something that felt like what Jennifer and you gave me, basically. Yeah. And I feel like Joe and Ronnie were the closest things that I could ever ask for to.
And I mean, we said earlier, I definitely, like, just from the interactions that I had always had from Ronnie, I definitely felt like he would be a really good. Because I remember when you told me that's where you're going, I was like, this is gonna be good. Because I was like, this is. He was always, and we haven't touched on this a whole lot. We fought a lot. We butted some heads about just more. It's never really skills. Yeah. And honestly, most of the time I never told you that you were fucking wrong. Ever. That was the most important part. I always told you, I get what you're saying. You just got to find a better way to say it. Yeah. That was always the thing. And I felt like Ronnie was a guy that, like, even when he knew something was shit, he knew how to spin it in a good way. Yeah. And, like, obviously, I mean, he cheered at Moorheads. He's a tough guy, partner stunt champion. Big guy like you.
Big old bobcat.
I think he tumbled, didn't he?
He threw a tuck.
I'm pretty confident he did.
He was like, also 260 when I threw a tuck.
Yeah, he's a big fucking boy, bro. Yeah. I remember that. I was there. I seen it. I was like, I'm pretty confident he did that.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. So a lot of similarities between the two of you guys. I definitely, even from a physical standpoint, like I can see the similarity because he's a stout son of a bitch.
He's a big old boy.
Like he's even now, dude. When he was cheering, you didn't get to see him when he was cheering, bro.
I've seen the videos though.
Manimal. So obviously, I'm more than excited for you because like I understand, like I just feel that, and I'm guessing that you do too.
Yeah.
Now, what about Jill? Like, what's her? Is she kind of like your Jennifer, your new Jen? Is she?
I would say Ronnie's more like Jen, and Jill's a lot like you.
That's a scary concept right there.
Jill is a ball of fire. Like, she knows what she wants, and she's gonna get what she wants when she wants it.
I've seen the 1357 media stuff like that came in and feel like I guess it's like primarily like the all girl stuff. Cause I'm like, where the fuck's Brandon at? Like, I'm like, where's my Brandon videos? But I like that, and like obviously they always like show the professional stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, like I guess because I've been coaching for so long, it's like you can find out when someone's just holding that twitch back, and like you can feel it. And like, because like BMO, like that's what I said, BMO's got that scare me energy, and like it's that, and like I understand it because like it's like one more time. That's all I need you to do. Do this wrong one more fucking time, and you're getting ready. Do it. It's almost like I'm daring you to do it. You know what? You've been so bad for so long. I just want you to go ahead and do it so we can just have it out. Like it's something. It's an energy, but like it's a dominant force, and you know it's very much the same kind of grain of like the way that you operate at the same time. Like, we're here to do a job. This is business. And like, I'm tired of going back and having to look over the shit that I already know how to do. I want you to know it. I'm gonna have to censor that so bad. But like, that's kind of how it is. Like, especially like when you get to the high level, like I don't want to backtrack too much. No. You know, you want to be moving forward and like, we're going to do it. And like, it's very simple. If you do it the way that I know, then it'll work.
And that's the perfect description of Jill. It truly is.
Well, I'm glad.
She's one of the most intense coaches, but I know at the end of the day, if I go to jail, I'm calling Jill and Ronnie for sure.
Well, we'll not. Maybe I may clip that part out. But, you're going. Obviously, you've gone from Paducah to Tuscaloosa, which is 6 hours. And now you're going from Tuscaloosa to Tampa.
Which is another 9.
Yeah. How far is it from Paducah?
15 hours. 15 and a half, sitting on 16. But I can make it in 15.
That's a whole fucking day right there, buddy.
If you drive, yeah. I've done it once.
So do you normally fly?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
nice.
cheaper and it's nicer.
Hell yeah. That's pretty awesome. When you go to tryout, obviously you go down there. Is there anybody that you know? Does it take you a long time to meet people?
So, like, I had gone to 2 clinics, and, like, Gabe Rodriguez was one of my first friends there, and Erica Scarborough, she's one of the sweetest people you'll ever meet, and she would, like, reach out to me and see if I was okay and stuff. And Chloe George was a big help with getting me in school, so we automatically became friends because of how much we had to talk. Yeah. So
that's good. Good.
I had known a couple people. It wasn't like I'm going in completely blind, but like I am by myself.
Do you feel any differently from this tryout process than any of the ones that you had done before? Because obviously our tryout process is you're on the fucking team.
Yeah.
Shelton's like you have to go through the formal tryout, but I'm sure you have some comfortability. And I'm sure you have comfortability here.
Yeah.
Obviously, tryout's a little different.
Tryouts is tryouts. It's going to be stressful regardless.
Yeah.
But it is very laid back at South Florida.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's super encouraging. Like, we're yelling constantly for each other. Like, encouragement and all that stuff.
Absolutely. And it's obviously, do y'all have open tryouts or are y'all closed?
Technically, it's open, but we have an idea of who we want, so it's open.
Well, I mean, like, open for people to come and watch.
Yeah, as long as you pay the tryout fee, you can try out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, now, who'd you try out with?
Tatum Real was mine. I did Erica's, and I think that was it that first year.
How was your tryout?
I hit. It was good. With Tatum, my first year, I think we did a Dion front pop, corkscrew, rewind, immediate stretch, double down.
Compared to what everybody else did, how would you rank that?
It was up there. Then again, we did have DeJuan Carter trying out that year.
Yeah.
We had Ramsey Robinson. We had Gabriel Rodriguez. Like, those are some dogs, and they can do some crazy skills.
I'm going to ask this question because this is going to be interesting. I'm curious to see what this answer is.
Yeah.
Even when you tried out your first year, I wouldn't say that there was someone that like absolutely would dominate you. Mm-mm. I mean, we had some guys that were way ahead of you, but it was like these skills were very realistic and attainable. Mm-hmm. And now, even at Shelton, probably a pretty similar situation.
Yeah.
This is a different story, right?
Very.
These are three guys that alone that you've mentioned that you feel would handle you pretty well.
Grown men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is new for you
Very.
to being under a tree of. I mean, I talk about you being crazy. The tryout stunt that you just told me is fucking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting here telling me that these three guys are way ahead of you.
At this point in time, yeah.
So this is really your first time, like where you definitively know I am not the best guy here.
Yeah.
How's that?
So from a selfish standpoint, like I want to be the best, and I'm like, I'm better than you in my head, but then you throw this, I'm like, oh, I'm just not there yet. So it does put a fire underneath me to like achieve that like top dog status.
Yeah.
And when I first got to USF, like I completely had to relearn everything because I came in without a backhand spring full up or front 1.5. Like I barely had a backhand straight up, but I could do a 1-to-1 and a hand ski. We're not doing those. Like those are unreasonable skills. So I had a really, really, really big setback to where I had to almost relearn what I've been taught. It was hard. It was really, really, really hard to get through.
Well, I went through a lot of similar stuff, mm-hmm. and you guys witnessed a lot of that because once McCracken got to the point where it's like, okay, we can start doing these skills, the way that I was taught them is not the way you teach them anymore.
Not at all.
And it's a whole new world, and it's stuff that I didn't really play with. So, like, there was a lot of times where, like, you guys were having to piece me in on, like, new technique stuff and, like, get, like, because, like, I could hit some stuff, but, like, the shit didn't look great. But, like, we had to tweak a lot of stuff. Yeah. So, like, I sympathize with that a lot because the technique is so much better today than it was in my era, bro. Yeah. And I can't even begin to explain to you how much better. The way that people can describe stuff in such detail now is so much more because it's so many more people know it, so many more people understand it, and so many people have played with it and tweaked with it to like it's easy. Like someone somewhere can teach you how to do something. Didn't used to be that case once upon a time. And now you've got, like I said, you got maybe something to chase, some motivators. Also, the nicest thing I found out, like when you guys used to come home, one of the nicest things about not being the best guy in the room is that you get to learn.
100%.
You get the opportunity to be, and like I always say, like when you guys would come back, and like those summers with you guys, like it was super insane because like if I learned it from you guys, if you guys came back 6 months later, everybody else fucking knows it.
Yeah. No, it was crazy to watch. Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, I will always, there's generational what I did in the end. Generational. I watch what they're at now, bro, and I'm like, I know where that shit started.
Yeah.
I remember the day where, like, if I even mentioned doing a backhand spring up to Jennifer,
she'd scream.
She would be like, "There's no way we can't do this." And then
at
one point, she's like, "Fuck." She's like, "Burnham just did it with 5 different girls," and then like the next day of practice, like we're putting it in stunt groups, and then like the next thing you know, like they did it, and like now like they did fucking 6 of them. Like the routine they did in 24. A lot of mugging, but man, was it fucking clean and hard.
Even this pass routine was from what
bro. This one was crazy too. But like, oh my god, dude, like, could you imagine? Does it piss you off a little bit?
Yes.
That they're allowed, because like,
yes.
Well, we could have. I mean, technically, we were allowed to do some of that. Like we couldn't do Bufu, and I think most of your time period there, like we were only allowed to invert to hands. So it's like, and it looked like shit.
It wasn't even worth it at that point. So that's when they opened up the half round to the top.
Yeah. You know, and it was like, I don't know, because I feel like in today's era, you would thrive. Even now, like the person that you were then, if they took you from then and put you in today, he would still thrive. You know what I'm saying? And it's not that you wouldn't. I mean, obviously you still are, but I'm saying like, if this was day one Brandon, day one 16-year-old Brandon walking on the team right now, would still end up being a monster. You know, that's what I'm like. You know, does that? Because like I look back at it like now, I'm like I don't know. Like I think I would have done better today than I did then. I don't know if I'd be more successful.
Yeah.
I think I would have. It's a lot more competitive. Like when I was winning, it was like fucking. I mean, the first time I won by 30.
Yeah.
30.0, and we got a deduction.
That's
So
that's wild.
and teams 2, 3, and 4 hit.
Oh.
We had a deduction. Yeah. Okay,
Wow.
different world.
Very.
Different world. Dude, my last one with McCracken, I think we won by 17. So
No, that one was nasty.
It was very reminiscent of days gone by in a lot of ways. But, damn, I've kind of lost my train of thought. We've gotten to talking shit to edit. But like I said, obviously, like, how excited are you just to get to work with them?
Very.
You know, because it's like, I mean, I've seen this, Dewan, and like, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker's pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, is it intimidating in any way? Or
Certain points, yeah. But they're also like, we're all the same team and they want the team to be successful. Like, of course, when we like play a game of stun or something, we're all going to talk shit to each other.
yeah.
But like, it's like having, it's kind of like having a coach on the floor with you because the one is that talented to where he can see something as he's doing it and then come fix it real quick and then go back. So it's like that point of it, it was very nice to have, but it was hard walking in and going back to the bottom. Like I've been so great where I was for so long to where I was like, okay,
It's what's humbling too,
Yeah.
and it puts a lot of things in perspective. And I mean, obviously, the exciting thing is like when there's better people in the room, it opens up the possibility for you to get better,
Yeah.
which is a great. Because like, not to be mean, I think there's a correlation in that when you didn't have to be stunning with just the people on your team anymore, that you skyrocket. There is a correlation there, and it's not, and it'd be the same for any of them. Like it's at some point you get to that point where like I can't progress any further. We can't. And like I need to be around people who are better than me for me to progress. And that's just where you naturally were at this point. And that's one of the reasons why you had this explosion. Also, too, it doesn't hurt to just. I mean, in this case, like the way that you're describing them is that they are competitive and they're team oriented. And the most important part, and a part that I feel like we've talked about quite a bit, understanding when to be fucking which.
Yep.
See, the fact that you even mention that now is insane because I remember a time when I used to preach this to a certain guy.
I did not care.
Knowing when to be this and knowing when to be that. And for you to describe all these guys who like are better than you and you're describing that as the demeanor that they have, that is the maturity alone, the growth, the understanding. Like, I think you understand the whole show now. Like, that's a cool thing.
I've grown up a lot.
Yes.
I've been doing this long enough. I better have.
I know. It's really crazy how once upon a time there was just this balding 20-something-year-old who just knew everything and told it to you. And you didn't listen to him. No. I mean, you listen to some stuff. You're like, some stuff you're like, this will be that. And then, and then when it all comes down to the end of the road, you all come back and like, damn, he knew from the beginning. Yeah. It's crazy. And like, you know what's really thing? It just tickles my butthole, to be honest with you. Man, I love being right. I love being right almost more than I love anything else. I'm like, but it's good. Like, to me, it's all gratification. To me, it lends credibility to what I say. I think I think, listen, between you and Max, the Hazels, Clark, Landon, Ethan, Jacob, Haley, Davin, Izzy, Audrey, all of them out there right now, I was right. And like, you know, I'm not responsible for where they get there, but a lot of them always come back and say like, I get it. And like, to me, that's gives me a lot of gratification knowing that I prepared you guys. Even if you guys don't understand all the lessons I gave you in the beginning, at some point in time, you're like, he knew, and he was preparing us. That you know, like I said, winning and success, all that, that's, you know, it's great. It's never a guarantee. Maturity, growth, and understanding, those are the things that we really brought. And it's crazy that I say that because, I always talked about winning. I always talked, because it was fun. It was fun to be in the intensity. It's kind of like adrenaline junkie.
Very,
You know, like
yeah.
like living on that wire. That was it. And like a fucking I've been to that side, and I know what it feels like when you're on the right side of it. And like I was always excited to chase that, and we were competitive, and like sometimes that's intense, you know. But like it's a lot, honestly. But like if you really go back and you listen to all the things that we really talked about, and like it all makes sense. And like I'm the same way, because like I had reflections at 20 years in that I should have figured out in year 2.
Yeah.
And like it all relates back to me. It continues, like same thing. I'm same position, you know, like, and I'm like, damn, if I just listened to that guy once upon a time, it would have been different. But the same breath, I'm happy that it all went. I'm happy that it all went the way that it did, you know. So now, do you go to camp with South Florida?
Yes. So my first year we have a home camp. It was cool. We had Cody from West Georgia come in. Josh Baker showed up. He works with us a lot. Josh Baker does. My second year we go to FSU. And then last year we went to Bama, and that was something. Let me tell you.
I bet that was.
It was fun. I see camp, especially working with ECA now. Camp is an opportunity to grow your team in a way that being alone couldn't.
Yes, I get that 100% from when I went through it, because it's there's something about being around everybody. There's something about the environment and just the individual in the mesh is the way that I would describe it. Like, we're really a part of a big picture. Yeah. We're all trying to do the same thing.
You all have the same goal. It's just
and we're just in the moment. We can all be here, even though we're going to compete somewhere down the road.
Oh yeah.
But it's cool because like we're just being with our team and like establishing who we are and finding out who we are. And doing it with everyone's eyes on you.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of stability that you don't always get in high school until you're competing. Is like being able to build a dependence on people in front of a crowd, in front of a pressure situation. Not huge pressure, but there is a lot of pressure being in there in front of every fucking body that you're going to compete against.
Most people who get top 5 are at this camp.
Yes, exactly. So that all of that, and it's the chance to kind of set yourself out is the chance, as we used to say, set the tone, send the message, and at the same time figure out who you are. And it's really one of your first big challenges as a team.
Yeah,
I 100% understand that. Like that's so real that you're saying that. Like that, it's a unique way to grow.
Very.
That you don't really get at any other opportunity like that during the season. And it's obviously the home camp's not like it's the going to these big camps.
It's still a really good way to understand who you are as a team.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. Camp is hard. It's draining. You're tired, and you're just now meeting these people for like the 3rd time.
Yeah.
So it is. I think I learned a lot my first year at the home camp about who I was and where the team's going to be.
Yeah.
And I can say the same thing about when we went to FSU and Bama, which those are 2 completely different camps.
I bet they are.
Yeah.
I went to the Bama. It's been years since I went to Bama.
Fun.
I had a ton of fun at Bama.
It's fun.
I didn't get to go to Florida State, and then the Middle Tennessee one used to be big before me, and then there was like a long period where they didn't do it.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like it was really popular again for a while, and I have no idea if they even do it anymore.
ETSU is where it's at now. Eastern Tennessee, I think.
Yeah. And
usually Moorhead, Kentucky, Memphis, they'll go to that.
Because they used to do the one in Milwaukee all the time.
Well, now it's Chula, Wisconsin. Yeah, that one's pretty big for like a lot of the game day schools, but it's a lot of fun.
What feels different from the JUCO? Does anything feel different? Is it the same? Because it's essentially similar in a lot of ways. Obviously, you're kind of in a similar situation where South Florida's kind of built up this reputation from winning the last couple of years. Because I'll be honest with you, the way that I looked at it is like when they won the COVID year, I just thought they got lucky because it's fucking COVID.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that won that COVID year ended up repeating the next year when we came back. And it's, it was a crazy thing. And like, I don't even fully understand now how it happened. If it just like, just like once you do it, it kind of like gives you like, we can do this. And like, you've seen not just the win, but like you guys were getting better as you were winning. On top of that, like your teams were getting better, and now look where you are now. Like didn't always used to be. Even that first year that you guys won, it was my perception of it was that like teams just had a rough year, and if one of the teams with the better team had hit they would have won. And that's true. It would have, but would have, could have, and should have don't mean shit.
Would have, could have, should have. Don't matter when I got a ring on my hand.
And then the next year they came back and like validated that and like reinforced that like we're for real.
We're here,
And and now you're here.
Yeah.
That's a pretty, you know what I'm saying? Like the momentum is built up. So like there's eyes on you. Probably similar to what you do, Shelton. And when it's the D1A, no offense to anybody, a lot of people tune into that. It's a big division, big schools. Even like the people that don't know anything about cheerleading would be a little bit more curious about it if you like, because these are big schools.
Yeah.
And that's
where these teams are.
Like everybody knows the University of Tennessee exists. Like they know it. Kentucky, Central Florida, South Florida, all that stuff. And then with all the other sports and stuff like that, people would be invested in it, at least in some manner.
Yeah.
More so than like, no offense to like Shelton. But like if I said Shelton State, people are like, well, what the fuck is that? And if I said West Georgia, unless people said the name Georgia, they wouldn't know what the fuck it was.
No.
Moorhead, people wouldn't fucking know.
No.
No offense. I mean, there are people that do. No offense to them or anything like that. It's just the schools are bigger.
They're
and
big
it's kinda,
cheer schools, not big schools.
They're featured more on television and things. They're featured more in all kinds of stuff. More people talk about it. It's just, that's the way it is. No offense to anybody. Same thing. But yeah. Now, I'm curious, like, game day. Game day. How much more awesome is that than... Because I imagine like Shelton State game day wasn't like a real riveting event.
We cheered basketball games, had a couple cheers.
Now at South Florida, you got...
It's a different animal.
Football is serious shit, especially on the years they're good. Football is really intense. And basketball games, sometimes South Florida is really good at basketball too.
Oh, we sold out every game last year.
Yeah.
Well, 2 years ago.
So like, it's a whole new environment. And like, you've never really, like we didn't, your first year you didn't cheer any games with us because you were playing football.
In high school, I cheered 4 games.
Yeah.
And, it's,
and your 5th game is South Florida home opener.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, dude, how exciting is that? Because I always like people talking about that because like it's, bro, you want to ball out when you're out there, bro. It doesn't matter. Like the crowd's crazy and like, I just want to do something cool. And like you feel like you can too. Like it's a very crazy environment.
Like you said, it's adrenaline.
Did y'all have ESPN and stuff down some?
For a couple games, yeah. A really big game before they left the conference was the USF game. We call it the War in I-4.
Yeah.
That's the most intense game I've ever been to. Like even going to like Bama games, like something about the War in I-4 was different.
Yeah.
And like the fans hated each other, the teams hated each other, the cheer teams hate each other. It's just something about it. That game was fun. But yeah, being in front of all those people, like you truly do want to like go out and show out. Whether that, like, we don't do the hardest skills on the sideline. Yeah. But what we do is going to look good because we have pride in it. And like absolutely. We've won game day. Like we're a really talented game day team, and our coaches, they know it, and that's why we are. Is because they know we can be.
Exactly. Did you do game day while you were here?
McCracken?
No.
Oh, USF?
South Florida.
My first and second year, I competed game day.
And you didn't this last year.
I did partners last year.
They won this year.
Yeah. I still got a ring.
I was wondering that. Like, were you still like technically on the game day roster?
Yeah.
And just not on the map?
I was technically an alternate for game day.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
But when we were doing choreography, we had a couple kids get sick back to back. So for the first 3 months, I was running full outs with them. Like, I was in game day. I knew 5 different routines. Like I was in there doing it. So like if someone were to get hurt, I was going in.
Yeah. So you were like, but we're gonna let you do partner set, give you a break here, or put a younger guy in, give him an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like, well, no hard, no foul.
A big thing we use game day, like, I don't know,
to prepare people.
Is to prepare people to see how they're going to react under the lights in front of the judges under the pressure. Because we have a whole bunch of fresh out of high school kids who really weren't that competitive in high school. Like, you get the Bartow kids, you get the DeLand kids, you get the McCracken kids. Like, you get those kids, and, like, of course you're going to know how they react. But then you get, like, the little schools who didn't compete, whose kids just happen to be really talented.
Yeah.
We have no idea how they're going to react.
And to me, too, I think everybody knows how I feel about game day. Mm-hmm. But I can't deny that game day is an outstanding opportunity. And we touched on this just a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
As a coach, it's a testing ground. Mm-hmm. It's experience. Because one of the things, the last year we struggled at McCracken, I thought, is because we didn't have experience being in the building.
No.
This chance you get to put kids out on the lights. There. Now, are the skills super crazy? No, but game day doesn't want them to be. But there's a different level of fucking pressure
I think
in game day. Game day's hard to win.
It's just as competitive or more competitive because of how sharp and how clean the little things have to be.
Yeah. Like, I would not be an effective game day coach, and I know that. Like,
hard.
There's no way. I could never put together a team that could win game day. I don't care if you gave me the most talented people in the world. I could not win game day.
Well, talent has nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
It's effort.
Game day is the workhorse division. Everything that is required to be able to win is based on your effort to go out there and do it, and your commitment and your discipline. And that, man, if you get people that translate that over into the traditional division, it's game over. Because a lot of coaches, like you said, they're using this in college as an opportunity to give younger people a chance to be on the floor. And that's invaluable experience being in the building, even if it's different skills. Just knowing
Being
what
on
that
the
likes
floor,
are,
being under
knowing
the
what that
lights.
walk throw, knowing what this arena feels like, being in front of the crowd, wearing those colors, the response, all that stuff is essential. And it's been great for both. Like, I definitely feel like that's another part of the reason why things have been better is because even if they were game day one year and they go traditional, those kids have experience being out there. They understand how to handle the pressure. And it really has been great. And like I said, it gives people opportunities that before you may not take this many kids because we're just going to do traditional. Now we're doing game day. I can potentially take a lot more people and bring them in the more opportunity. And it's great. And it's kind of changed a lot of the landscape of a lot of things, and game day is part of that. And you've got the pleasure of getting to do all that awesome stuff. Let's fast forward to just when the action starts. When do you guys start putting together a routine? Or do you guys form ideas? Do you work pieces? Kind of how does that process go with them?
So July is pretty much like building up the new people to see what we can do. And then August we start forming ideas. And then we have game day, choreo, early October. And then traditional mid to late October.
Okay. When you guys do through that, like, what's the process of getting onto the mat? Do you feel like, just tell me what it's like. Because obviously, like, if you're a new person, you're like, you think you have a chance on mat. Like, kind of how is that process going to get on the mat?
So we have different roles for different people. And then she has a lot to do with, like, I don't necessarily want to say seniority. It's more like who would fit best here doing this. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Like, just because you're a first year doesn't mean you're not going to make it. Like, my first year at USF, we had, like, 13 first years on that.
Yeah.
So, just because you're new doesn't mean anything. It's how well do you mesh with the people and what can you do.
So it's more of a chemistry to what we're going. The cohesive unit is more important because we would do this to times. Like, there's times where, like, we couldn't put the most talented option on the floor because they couldn't meet some requirement. Yeah. Like when we took Hazel out that one year, Joseph, because we needed someone that could reach that. And, like, yeah, he was better, but, like, he couldn't. It was just.
Yeah.
That's just that simple. It was not a talent or skill issue. It's just that's what the team needed.
Yeah.
So you say there's probably a lot of that and understanding, like, how you're going to fit. So is it pretty competitive? Like, are people, like, kind of...
It's very competitive.
And how many guys you're saying, like, right now you guys got, like, 50-something people.
Yeah.
And potentially all 50 of you guys are fighting to get on to traditional?
Yeah. But, so, we do have the two teams. We have game day and traditional. Well, not two teams, two, like, routines. We have game day and traditional, but traditional will also compete game day. Game day is a lot more competitive, in a sense, to get on, where traditional, like, you have a sense whether you're going to make it, but it's also very competitive for the last, like, 4 or 5 spots.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason for that being is because, there's a pretty firm cap in game day of what you can and cannot do.
Yeah.
And what you can do is pretty low down on the ladder.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, there's not really any flipping at all in stunts. The tumbling is very minimal. It's not like you're doing running tumbling.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like probably a full up. It's about as hard as it gets. You don't have to have a stretch because that's not allowed. Don't need to be able to do a QP. It's basically
Toss extensions, toss libs,
the
and
basics.
some creative clean pyramids.
And who can make them look clean? Because like, you have no room. You really have no room for error at all
Zero.
in this. Like there's, I promise you, if you mess up in game day, you will definitively lose.
Yeah.
There's no if and or but about that. And the scoring is really high. Everybody's really close because it's subjective, and
Very.
there's a lot of people that look really good sometimes, and it's sometimes I feel like certain teams like that have really strong game day traditions just naturally at their school tend to do really, really well in the division.
Tennessee's
like
a big example of that.
Tennessee, yeah, the Rocky Top, TENNESSEE, Tennessee, Rocky Top, and it's a really fun experience watching them. Ole Miss can be that way too with the hotty toddy, gosh almighty, the Rebels. Like when you have that is organically part of their school's culture, and they're bringing that to the floor. Do you guys at South Florida have anything like that you try to bring out?
Yeah, so we have what we call the South Florida spell out. It's where we spell out South Florida, but we do it in our fight song a lot. And so that's a big, like, creative way we can incorporate different signs. Like, this year we had signs that spelled it out.
Yeah.
So, like, there's different ways. We also have, like, our hand motion, the Go Bulls sign that we always use. And then, like, we don't have, like, necessarily, like, a song like Rocky Top or, like, Dixieland Delight for Alabama. Like, so we get creative in what we can do. Like, we like to use, we call it ATL. It's just like a band chant, and we've used that the past couple years.
Yeah. And I think creativity, too, is a big thing. And, like, really with that tradition stuff, it gives you a chance to be creative and have something that's unique.
Yeah.
And in your breath, the way that you overcome something like that is to make your own.
Yeah.
Like, to be creative and be outside the box. Because I feel like you really do have a lot of room to kind of do some different things and find a lot of success with it. More so in this than you do in traditional, you know. Who would have thought we would both be talking positively about game day, bro? This is... I remember when we went to the state competition and they're like, we were going to watch the feed, and they're like, what's on? We're like, game day. Like, well, we're not watching that shit.
No.
And we just fell asleep on the bus instead. Like, that was like... And like... It's really, I don't know, it's so different. Honestly, if cheerleading was, if that was what they came up with first, that would fit more like what traditional cheerleading is. Like we call it traditional game. Like that's actually way more fucking traditional from a school cheerleading standpoint than anything that we do, truthfully.
Well, even on the scoreboard, like the scorecard for game day, they have like a traditions type score.
Like, and it very much, like, you could have done this at any point in time throughout the history of cheerleading, and it would work. Like, now you do both your first year, right? Okay, so you've got everything starting to get set up. When do you start going full out?
So game day, it's a lot earlier. Pretty much, we're going full out 2-3 weeks after choreo. Like, we run sections. After you understand the section, you might as well add another one on. Yeah. Because it's not like a traditional routine where you're dying. But the hardest part about game day is keeping the smile and keeping your energy up in front of nobody.
The authenticity is the hard part. Being genuine and real.
Yeah.
I talked about that with Caitlin. Like, when I was talking about, like, I feel like when I watch her do stuff, I'm able to invest in her because of the way that she presents herself. And that's a very big deal in game day. Very much so. Because if you don't, you can be great, but if you don't look like you want to be there, you're done. Shot in the leg, pretty much. So you've already started going through these. Is game day that bad to do?
No, it's really not. It's effort.
Yeah. Do you feel it's not real physically demanding? Not too bad.
It can be at times.
Yeah.
Like when you're exhausted from the day, it's going to be hard, like wanting to do it. But like if you make it exciting, if you put the pride in it, it's not that bad to get through.
Does it get repetitive?
I
feel like it would drive me crazy to do that.
Well, so
the chanting, it just like it would be a lot for me.
It can be, but with USF, we're always trying to be better.
Yeah.
So like what we do at choreo, pretty much like the idea of it's what we compete, but it's like it's never the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're always tweaking it, making it better, seeing what else we can do.
Yeah. Now, on the traditional side, you guys are probably, when are you getting into gear with that?
We start 2-a-days December 8th, so that's like our hell period. But before that...
How confident did you feel that you were going to be on the mat?
Very.
Felt pretty good.
Yeah.
What all were you in your first year?
Everything but the rewind. So I threw baskets. I did shouldered for a minute and a half my first year. I did the cheer. I was in the first and second stunt. I was shouldering the first pyramid. I backed the ending pyramid. I was spotting one of the rewinds.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty busy thing.
Usual.
Now, with the actual Hell Week or Hell Month, that's what we're gonna call it. Any difference from Shelton? Do you feel like
it's shorter amount of time, so we don't go full out until Christmas.
Okay.
Like we throw our first one the day we get back from Christmas, and we usually hit on New Year's Day. So like what we're doing is we are getting conditioned, and we are stunting. Like we fully practice for a good 3.5 4 hours every day, like for one practice.
But you're not doing any full outs then. Are you running sections?
Yes,
or
we are a very big mental rep team and a sections team.
So really, honestly, it's the conditioning that you're doing outside to prepare you from the conditioning for not going full out, but potentially saving your mental, your ability to focus on individual skills by running sections, still simulating to some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, we would do stuff like that to build up to the full outs.
Yeah.
I'm surprised to hear that you guys do that for that long. And for you to do it like that and to still look as good as you do at Nationals.
Well, we do so much that we pretty much get to a point where we can't mess it up.
It's just automatic, like instinctual.
But we're also very big about you're very intentional about what you're doing. Like you're in control at all times.
Yeah.
Like the whole muscle memory and like coasting, we don't believe in that. We believe you decide what you do, whether you decide to mess it up or hit.
You
in
control
full
the
control
outcome.
at all points.
I wanted to know if this sounds familiar to you.
You know.
Have you ever heard someone, you may remember them saying something like this: everything that happens next is in your hands.
Who could have said that?
I don't know who that cheerleading prophet was. But man, does that resonate 5 years later as hard as it did?
Like I've been hearing that since I started or something.
But yes. Okay. And I like that mentality. And I 100% support that. You know, I mean, that's the way I always try to look at it. And I think that if you carry that responsibility, it is a lot of pressure.
Yeah. But
at the same time, there's a level of confidence that comes with being able to handle pressure like that. Because some people will be like, well, you know, something just happened, this happened, it's this or that. And like, sometimes that's true, you know, but when you hold yourself to that standard all the time, like I'm in control of this, like it allows you to handle certain situations much, much better. Yeah, and you're less likely to, because your mentality is already that it's my choice. And even if it's not true, or like, because a lot of people would debate that, and you know, and I can understand, but the perception is if your mind believes that, that's how your mind act. And we very much talk about the mentality. The person who says he can and the person who says he can't are both right. Yeah, that's simple. They're not contradicting each other. If you believe that it's in your hands, then it is in your hands. And if you believe that something could go wrong, something will go wrong. It's that simple. And especially in that moment when you have to be very driven so much to the ability to block everything out and focus solely on one thing and focus on like, this is in my control. Regardless of how much I'm hurting, this is in my control. Regardless of how much is going into my life, this is in my control. Yeah. It's a different, you know, to be able to drive that, like it sounds so simple. But when we're talking about cheerleading is simple. But cheerleading is a aspect of a much bigger picture of your life. Yeah. And all those things interfere and collide. You can't just do cheerleading. No. You know, no matter what, even when you're an all-star, you're not just doing cheerleading. So that's pretty much, I'm very interested by a lot of that. It's a good concept. And I like it. And I think it fits a little bit into like my philosophy in a way too. You know, but that's the good thing is like that's what this is about, to hear different sides and different ways that people think about it. And like, I'm genuinely interested in it because I could see why someone would get here, and I could see why someone would favor that to an approach that I might take. And like, it's interesting, but it's also a chance to grow and evolve. Yeah. and that's what we're putting out here is now, this is a very different mentality to a way that I would judge a team, but very much how I would judge myself, and I get that. Like, that's the similarity to that. And I like that approach. And obviously it's been really successful for you guys. Like, it's hard to argue with that. But as I've talked before, you also have to get the right people in to be able to do that. Yeah. How comfortable are you that you have the right people with this team?
I've put my full trust in Joe and Ronnie. Obviously, they have the accolades to support that. Like, they are going to do what's best for the team, whether they necessarily not agree, but like what they have to do is one different thing. Like, people are people; they're gonna have opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I fully believe them. So if they make a decision, I might not like it, but I'm gonna trust it.
Absolutely, because too, I've always said, like, you don't have to like or love or anything. Nope. You just got to be able. Most of the time, as a cheerleader, the best thing that you want is someone that can fall in line. Like, you need leaders, but you also need people that know how to follow the way. Yeah. This is very much an example. Like, no matter what kind of a leader you are on a team, you are subservient to whatever your coach's dream is. Now, you may be able to have more conversation with them and maybe be able to speculate more, and that's fine. But that's a mutual trust thing. But at the end of the day, when they decide on something, you do that. But it's like you said, there's a track record here that makes it very easy
to follow,
easier to buy into because, hey, this team just won twice in a row. There's this guy, Ronnie, who is outstanding, and here's Jill, who you respect and has done great things with you. All these things have now lent themselves into this. Plus, you have the individuals on your team. Like, if you're confident in yourself and then you know there's 3 guys better than you on the team, that's a big chunk of buddy. Yeah. That's something we'll talk about too, is like, well, let's go ahead and get to it. Because at this point, it's not long after this that you guys are going to nationals. So when you go, do you have a sense of, compared to the other years where you're not the best guy on the team, is that easier to a degree? Because if you feel comfortable with yourself and you comfortably feel that these guys are better than you, obviously I don't have to worry about them. Yeah. Because it's like, I'm the bottom. They're worried about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like, you've never had that before. Yeah. Not truthfully. I mean, you may have guys you can depend on, but like,
I've never had to
But you know that there are other people that would be perceived as a weaker link than you. And there probably still are on this team. Yeah. But like, 1 or 2 spots is a pretty far away. 3 or 4 is a way down that ladder. Like, so is that, to me, I would think that it would, some comfortability, but like at the same time, like a little bit more pressure on me individually.
So I haven't had this, again, it's going to sound arrogant. In the past, I hadn't had like confidence issues with being not the best guy. In the end, it helped me like be who I am now. Yeah. In the moment, I was very like, am I good enough? Like, can I do this? But with the process we have to go through, it really switches in your brain. Like, I'm out here for a reason, doing what I'm doing for a reason, and I am capable. I just went through hell for a month for this. Yeah. Like, I'm prepared. That first year at USF is the most prepared I've ever felt going into a nationals routine.
Well, that's good that you say that. I was glad to hear that the Incredible Hulk is actually human. We got to see Bruce Banner for once, like, because it's, I mean, a lot of like I said, I agree with what you're saying, and I definitely like. It's so easy to understand, like to hear it come, like I would never think about this stuff on my own. Yeah. Like hearing it come out, and like even now, like we're winging this. Like we put down 5 bullet points on a piece of paper, and we passed that an hour ago. Yeah. You know, like we're winging it right now, but the conversation's like organically happening now. The actual nationals. I mean, well, when you go down there, who else do you got? Do you guys practice with other people? Do you have like a specific group of people that you practice with?
Rutgers.
Rutgers?
I mean, so Jill is from the Northeast.
Yeah.
Like, she grew up in Brooklyn, and she coached at Delaware for years. Yeah. So she knows like that coach and staff and like been friends with them for years. And so like we always like will share mat time with them. Yeah, yeah. This past year it was Rutgers and IU all girl. Okay. Like we were just all on the mats together. It's not that we like practice with somebody, but we do have like people we're around.
Yeah, but see, like we used to always do like us and McCracken and Graves and Blackman, you know, that's it. And like Shelton would always do the Moorhead and the Bartow thing, you know, like it's kind of like it's a traditional thing to be with these people. Like we're not practicing together, but it's like we're taking turns, we're sharing the area, like. But like typically, like you're watching and supporting them and going back and forth, you know, with all that stuff. And I always feel like that's good because sometimes it feels different when the people that you're used to being around aren't there. Like even you know, I always like when teams would leave nationals, like in co-ed divisions, like people disappear all the time. But like a lot of people that I used to practice with, like they're gone. Like I think of the teams that were in the co-ed division when I was there, I think there's 2 left from my division of 28 teams, and here we are, you know, about 20 years later, and we're down to 2. Yeah. And they're unbelievably still in the same division. So, do you guys stay at the resort?
Yeah,
correct?
We stay on.
You just drive
sports.
over. On a
yeah,
bus or something?
So we have. I think it's like 2 days before nationals. Whenever like the Visa Center practices, like the very first one, we all drive there and try to meet at ESPN like a couple hours before. So we're all there, and then after we practice, we drive to the hotel and we turn in our keys. Okay. So like we don't have the bus there, and so like it's like being at home and we're just at practice.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And a different way, because I wonder like with teams that are so close, like how you go about it. Like
we all drive. Well, USF is very unique, and we bring everybody. If you're on the team, you're coming.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. Like we pay dues, and so why make someone pay dues if they can't even go to what we're working for?
Yeah, absolutely. I like that, and it's a great way to make people on your team feel included
and excited.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Plus, more people in the room, more crowd injury. Because like, I feel like sometimes like, I hate to say it like this, but like, can we move it out to Orlando? I'd like to still keep it at Disney World, but like, you cannot tell me that Central Florida does not have some kind of crowd advantage. To a degree,
they do to an extent, but they're one of the teams that don't bring everybody.
Yeah,
which is
crazy because it's right down the road.
Yeah. It's literally 15 minutes and they're there.
I'm curious, what's the relationship between the two of y'all?
0.
Get on.
So, like, I have friends on the team, like, throughout being in cheerleading.
Yeah.
But the 2 programs, no.
Don't like each other or just don't have anything to do with each other?
Don't like each other, don't want anything to do with each other.
Because, like, I mean, I remember UCF being around for a while.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily remember the entire tenure of South Florida up until...
In other sports, that's a rival.
Yeah.
So, naturally, it's just what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's more of, it's not really a cheerleading thing as much as is it just a school just a general thing. It's just a regular like Kentucky Louisville kind of thing. Yeah. But like we're just going to be in a feud in all sports.
Yeah, but there's been things that happen with both programs to make it a cheer thing.
Okay, so there's
bad blood everywhere.
Yeah. But it's driven by this, and like over time, you guys have found your ways to make it even more personal. Yeah. That's cool. Okay, I like that. I love that. Yeah. Like to a degree. Like I know some people like. I'm all for positivity and I'm all for support, but like trash talking is part of the game. Like it is in rivalries, and like you can sell on that. Like if we ever got really big and you could like film it, like where the commercials are, heated rivals, Duke in North Carolina, duking it out at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Yeah. It's like the number one, and it's all about the bad blood between the two. Can we do that once? Like I'm not saying that you have to have people come out there trashing, but like
the promotional
I've heard some people like when they get the microphone in their hand at UC, I've heard some people say some wild shit like that one year Memphis won and they said Kentucky didn't matter this year on the fucking mic live in front of everybody. Mm-hmm. And then the year before I watched, like they were filming, this is the only time they ever did this. They would film the teams when they were watching the video after they got done with the full out. And there used to be audio. They shut the audio off now because one dude from Memphis, when they came out, they just dropped, had a chance to win. He come back and he's screaming. Dude did not show another one of those the rest of that year at Nationals. F this, F that, GD. Dude punching while pulling a Brandon Gray, punching walls.
Oh, come on. I want to clarify that, by the way. Whenever that supposedly happened.
It happened.
I went outside and I went up around the corner and I slapped the wall. My knuckles were not broken. They were not red. Mark Coleman.
Well, that coach from Blackman said, "Hey, that guy just punched the wall. We're pretty confident he broke his hands." And he's like, it was pretty hard. He's like, the dude was like, "There's no way his hand's not broken."
Oh, I slapped the hell out of that wall, but I knew I had to summon the field the next day, so I didn't punch anything.
You did kind of. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was.
Did I cook the bush too? Maybe. Yeah.
My favorite part about that is she's like, Tanner's like, who would kick bushes? And then you look down and he's literally got grass stains on his the white pants and twigs sticking in his shoestrings. The best stuff. So from here, obviously you guys are going to semis. What's your goal you're setting? Because like we would have like we want to be about one mistake. We'll be okay with that. It's not the end of the world. Is this more about just, obviously you want to do good, but there's not really a lot of like insane pressure. Is that, or
there's always pressure because you sadly do have the teams like Ohio State one year, Western Kentucky a year where you do completely bomb. Yeah. So the goal is to not do that. But I always say we want to peak in finals. Yes. Yeah. So like one drop, okay. Don't want it to happen, but it's okay if it does. Yeah. And then you want your best performance in finals.
Absolutely. And I felt like, especially like this last year, that was a true statement. Because like y'all's finals performance was, it's crazy because like I thought your semis was really good, but like your finals was even better. Like that was really, especially that the dolphin to the immediate, those things were disgusting, bro. Yeah. I've never seen that many executed that well. That was pretty impressive. Yeah. Now this routine's pretty good.
Yeah, it's the hardest one thus far.
Yeah. Obviously you guys have had discussions about winning. I'm sure you're the defending champions. Yeah. How comfortable do you feel? Do you know anything about anybody else really going into this?
I mean, it's cheerleading. There's videos floating around everywhere. You see things, you hear things, but you truly don't know until you get there. Yeah. But our biggest thing is we don't worry about anyone else. We go out there and worry about ourselves. Yeah.
Like, on a personal level.
Oh, come on.
Is there anybody that you're... Because this the year that Western was talking a lot, and they were good. I went up and saw them, and the full out that I watched was special, and they were good. Obviously, they had their day, and it didn't end well. Yeah.
After seeing how they reacted from hitting in semis, I had a feeling they wouldn't be able to replicate in finals.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. That. Because they hit pretty well. I mean, they were in first. No, where did you guys come in?
I think we were second or third.
Do you have any mistakes? It's hard for me to remember.
We had a fall in the front pop.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Maybe it was really... Was it sloppy? Was it
no, Trent dropped his full up. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, Trent. You just got blasted.
Not sorry, Trent.
But how do you feel? Obviously, you've been in this spot before. Being down is probably not anything different. Do you do anything the day of finals? Like, do you guys have anything to like...
We have a mark through.
Mark through?
So after semis, we'll go and practice. And then finals, we'll wake up in the morning, make sure everyone's up moving, especially me because I like my naps. But we have a mark through in the morning, and then we start preparing ourselves however we need to prepare.
Now, you guys go through the warm-up. You're waiting to go out there. What's going through your mind before this moment?
Again, name of the game is you hit, you win. So, me personally, it's not that I'm comfortable in finals, but it's familiar. I've been here before. I know what the pressure is. I know what I need to go do. So as long as everyone can do what they're here to do, we'll be great.
At what point during that routine did you know that you were hitting?
Like when we popped off?
Like you didn't know to the end?
When the crowd went crazy when we popped off. Honestly, so we did have that travel in the worm. So Ramsey's traveled and then ended up back. I saw that out of the corner of my eye because I'm in the front. I can't see anything. Yeah. I see him come up to me, and then I see him complete the dismount. So after I saw that, I was comfortable. Were you, when you go back and watch that video, how impressed are you with the ability to save that? Because I want you to hear these words come out of my mouth. It was not humanly fucking possible what he did. I do not know how either one of them managed to do that. That is insane. And the fact that you guys win, that is like insane, bro. That was one of the. To me, it's one of the. It's probably the biggest save that I can think of at this point because that was so close to like not happening. Yeah. And really, outside of that one thing, it was a really clean, really strong routine, and I felt like
South Florida had been picking up a reputation for being clean.
Mm-hmm.
That had pretty much been the meal ticket to win. This year, there was a difficulty increase with that, to where you could make these skills are significantly closer to where it's not. I don't need to depend on you for me to win.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need you to make a mistake. Like at this point, this was a very definitive case of our routine is a legitimate 100%. I don't need any help whatsoever. I can win a national championship routine.
That's the first year.
And there's only one of those in every division.
Yeah. That's the first year we really, truly felt like if we hit this, try to come beat it. I dare you.
Yeah.
Like,
and
there was just that confidence.
And what's crazy is that that's at year 3 of this 3P.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting better. Now, everybody maintains the level, and everybody's supposed to be like, the concept of your program is evolving in this moment. It's not just like, oh, we're at a high level and we're pushing the envelope. Like, we are in territory that, A, we've never been in before, and we're getting ready to run you in it. And some of you have been here before, and we're getting ready to take this from you in a very definitive way. And I felt like it was very definitive. Like, I watched finals at work that year, and I reached out to you afterwards. I was very emotional, like when you won. I was like, holy shit, because like, I mean, I thought you guys were going to do well. You know, did I definitively know? But like when I watched the performance, I was like, they're winning. Like I knew it. I knew it when I saw it, and I was like, I have never been excited to watch an awards from home before the way I was that one. I literally, like, I knew you were going to win, and I was just waiting to hear someone say it.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm talking about it as a spectator, because I told you this, that's the last cherry on top of my Sunday that's in my career. And obviously it's not something I accomplished, but like, I have a lot of pride in that I've had one kid win in every collegiate division that there is. I've had one. At least from the co-ed standpoint.
No, yeah.
You know, I don't produce a lot of all-girl talent. But like, that was the last one. The D1A was the last one for me. So like, to me, it felt like it really has nothing to do with me, you know, in the sense, but like, it was just.
You were proud to be able to,
like, that we make impact, send out individuals that make impact across everything. Yeah. And to me, that was very satisfying for me. And I was also very happy for you, because I had seen you go through the 2 years at Shelton, and I knew that, like, I understood you a lot deeper than a lot of your other coaches prior to this probably did. There was a lot of similarities between me and you. And that's why a lot of what we did worked so well together. Yeah. Because you stunt exactly like I do. You're just fucking better. Like, that's the truth. Like, but we stunt identical. People would go back and forth between me and you and almost not even know a difference other than your insane power. But like, people, like, it feels the same. Like, all kinds of girls, you say that, like, you guys feel identical. The way that we approach things, almost identical. So like, to me, it's, I've always said, like, you're probably the perfect embodiment of what I preached, because each individual is going to come into it and change it. I feel like you didn't change anything. You just further expanded the definition of what I wanted to do. Yeah. And I feel like, it's honestly, like, you're the most symbolic of me. If any of the boys I ever coached followed more mine, it was yours. But in a lot of ways, it's not mine anyway. It's 100% yours now. Because it's like you, the first person that builds a road is amazing. But that road connects to a highway. Yeah. And you're the highway now. I'm just the dirt road that got you there. You know, that's to me, that's the expansion. We are an extension of each other. And like, now, and like, you probably understand that there's probably tons of people that look at you the way that you used to look at me. Like, that's a crazy concept. And there are probably people that look at you in a way that, like, I can't even begin to fathom. Yeah. You know, you're Superman to a lot of people. Yeah. You really are. And to see you win, to me, it was very satisfying, because I knew that you deserved it. I knew that you earned it. I knew you went through to get there. And it was special, and it meant a lot to me, but it meant a lot because we don't have a traditional coach and athlete style connection. Like, we don't. Like, we're very deeply connected in certain aspects, you know. Like, do we talk together all the time? No, we don't have to. No. But that's how guys are. Yeah. But like, we went through a lot together, and we we learned and we grew together. I learned a lot while teaching you, and the same thing. And it all comes back full circle because you coming back and helping me. Don't think that has an impact on what's going on today. You're delusional because it does. All this stuff, it's the snake that eats its own tail, but somehow keeps getting bigger. That's essentially what this is. It all follows back and connects to each other. So for me, like I said, I thought that was really special. Like I said, I cried. I was over the moon about it. To me, it was a full moment. And especially at that point in my life, almost 30 days exactly from that, I microed over. Almost 30 days after that, to the date. I literally competed the day before that you guys did. I didn't get to watch your semifinals performance live because I was competing at 30 fucking 2. And then, a month later, I crash out. But, I remember being really burned out around that time and, seeing all that really kind of... I don't know if I finish... there's a lot of, just the wear and tear. And you understand that so much more now. And probably more so than me because whatever mileage I put on my body, you've amplified it from the difficulty and the level that you... And the amount of work that you guys do now is insane. You get that. I know you do, But, it was just like that... I don't know. I think I just wanted one more time, just be that guy one more time, and I did it for me and I was happy with it. But it gave me that motivation, that fire. And on a person, you can see me, I'm getting emotional now, but I really don't know. If I don't, it's one of those things. I needed that and I don't understand why I needed it. In the truth of it, I'm responsible for a fraction of it and you're responsible for all of it, but in the same way it's the fulfillment of what I started in a big circle. You dream of it and you did it, and that to me that's all I wanted to do. And for so long I never thought I'd get to see someone that did a lot of this stuff to you. And Max the same way. Max has got you, like I said, and that's one of the reasons why I guys perceive you guys. You guys are the two people that fit the whole puzzle together in a lot of ways. Even if a lot of the other people didn't work out, if you two guys worked out, that's 90% of what I'm proud of. It's a cool thing to be there. And for you, you've won. What are you feeling? Because it's been a long road to get back to winning, and you have won before. But you lost 3 years in a row at 2 different places to get to that point. Yeah. So what does this win mean to you?
The second they called us in first, it was just something special, man. They'd always talk about that feeling. I had it in high school, but this one, it's hard to put in words. Everything you've always worked for has finally happened at the highest level it can happen.
Absolutely.
And this one especially meant a lot because this is the first time my mom has come to watch me at nationals. So getting her to finally see why I put my body through all this, the stress I go through, the stress I put her through, for it to finally work out. I'm not even in the team photo after because I'm in the front hugging my mom. The streamers are out there.
I've seen the video of you and your mom both crying. Yeah. And there's streamers everywhere. And I think your team's taking the picture in the background of the photo.
I'm just in her arms crying. So when I first started cheer, I don't tumble. That's not keep that. And so I always got in my head that I would never be able to compete, even win at the D1A level. Yeah. And for me to prove people wrong and I can do this and I can hold the elite, I can be that guy. It meant that much more.
It's a big solidification to have the success that you've had. And, obviously this is not the end of your story. Mm-mm. Obviously we've talked a lot about this year. Now, your second year when you guys are at nationals, mm-hmm. You guys, what place did y'all come in your second year? Second place. Did you have a mistake?
No, we came in fourth. Came in fourth in traditional, second in game day. And
you had some mistakes, mm-hmm. right? Was the makeup of that team, did you have a lot of new people that year too?
No, we had, of course, you always have new people. Yeah. But from my first year, it was a lot of people that returned. We had some people transfer, and we had some people transfer in. Then we had some people age out. Yeah. It's just stuff that happens, but it was It was a really good group, a really familiar group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you? I mean, how do you view that year? Obviously, it's.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We worked hard. That was compared to this year. Well, before this year, at the time, that was the hardest year, like physically for me. I was in a better spot confidence wise. Like I knew where I was and what I needed to do, and the people like that were on the team just wanted it.
Yeah. And I felt like, I mean, routine-wise, you kind of came out with the same, some similar skills.
Yeah, this year we
some
did the
things,
deal.
some things were harder, but you guys, it seemed like a realistic advance to the program. Even though there were some mistakes, you're still pushing that envelope. Like I said, you're still growing. You're still getting better. You're still getting to that point. And a lot of that kind of spins into this year, where, what you guys did was insane.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've talked about the results of that on a personal level, and we will probably not go into that in a lot of detail. How do you see your role has changed from the beginning to now?
The beginning of college or beginning of cheer?
The beginning of South Florida.
The
Like
beginning
how
of
have you evolved? Like, are you a leadership person? How is your role in the program different today than what it was? Maybe not even from a skills perspective, but just the way that you are and interact.
I feel like I'm starting to evolve into that leadership position. There were people on the team that had been there since the first win. This was their last year. And so, like, of course, naturally, they're going to be the true leaders. I feel like for me, I was like, I'm one of the better stunners now. Like, I would say, like, I'm top 3.
Yeah.
And my role this year was to be consistent and, like, do the dirty work, I like to say.
Yeah.
Like, I love my flyer to death. Like, me and her, she was the best. Felice, she was the best I could ask for. At the beginning, we were polar opposites people on paper. Like, I looked at Jill, I was like, are you sure? She's like, yes. And throughout the time, she's one of my best friends now.
Yeah.
Like, I love her to death. She is so amazingly talented. But there was a point where we both looked at each other like, I don't know how we're doing this, but we're doing it.
Yeah.
And so that really developed into, like, all the stuff we had to do with outside of cheer, too. Like, we both had a pretty rough year, and we dealt with it in the right way.
Yeah.
And I feel like this past year was hard. Like, physically, mentally, with doing partner stunt, I was going through 3 days. So, I didn't compete in the game division, but I was still, like, very relevant at practice. There were days where I was there from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Like, it was brutal, but we were just throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what stuck. And we figured out our system now, and so I feel like with that being so hard, it has well prepared us for this next year.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about your partner stunt, because we're getting ready to go to this last stretch, and we hate to skip over some of your South Florida stuff, and I plan to hopefully one day get to come back to that, but you are coming back for a 4th year, and this will be this is your final year of eligibility.
6 year in total.
You had your extra one from the COVID year, and you're using your last one. Obviously, you have championship aspirations.
Very much.
Feel pretty comfortable with your team and good. I mean, we've spoken, and we're not going to go into detail about all the things that we've talked about because it's not doesn't need to be public knowledge. But obviously, you are very positive and feel really good about your team and really good about where you guys are headed and what your capabilities are. And obviously, I feel like even the last 2 years that you haven't won, I feel like everything's built up to where you're getting ready to have something really big. So let's get into your partner stunt. When did you decide to do it?
So, we just went viral on Instagram for this little stunt competition we do. It's called the Sunshine Stunt Battle.
Yeah.
And going into this past year, it was what time we compete in January, so it happens around like March.
Yeah.
And Jill and Ronnie, after one of the practices, said all the couples who are wanting to compete this, like, come talk to us. And I didn't go. And Ronnie's like, Brandon, you're not doing this? So I said, I mean, I will. Ashlyn, you want to do it? And she said, yeah. And we had said at the beginning that if we win this, we'll try out for partner stunt.
Yeah.
So we end up winning. And then we start putting together a routine for partner stunt. And hopefully qualifying.
When you're putting it together, what are you thinking about? Are you lots of people play it differently?
Yeah.
Are you trying to be in the hunt to win, or are you just trying to be?
I feel that me and her are at the point to where we are very competitive.
Yeah.
Like with the partner son, like we are able to place high.
Yeah.
And so you always hear about these people going out there and doing these crazy skills and hoping to hit.
Yeah.
I feel that I'm not that type of athlete based on how I've been coached and the way I have seen routines been put together in the past. So I'm going to put my best 6 skills on the floor in the best order I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel very confident with what I'm doing and how I'm doing it.
Yeah, well, because the name of the game is pretty simple.
Yep, you hit, you win.
You got to hit to win.
Yep.
And and this is a different. Especially this one was pretty competitive.
Yeah.
When you're preparing for that and you're putting together skills, are you? I've coached people different ways on this because like some people like are trying to play the score sheet because the competition is just so insane that like you don't know how to beat somebody like flat. Like, you can't beat somebody flat out difficulty wise. He's like, I've got to out create them and I've got to play the score sheet. Or is that kind of what you're doing, or you're just kind of like, I'm gonna do what I know, what I feel comfortable with, what I'm good, and I'm just gonna throw it.
Well, if you look at the years past, even Ronnie's year in 2013 when he won, he didn't throw the craziest skills. He threw the cleanest.
Yeah.
Into the most variety of body positions. Like he took stuff to stretch, took stuff to one arm, to immediate lib.
Yeah.
Like so. Yes, I'm going to do hard skills. Like, it's not going to be like a backhand straight up. Like, we're going to spin stuff and we're going to take stuff to like body positions.
Yeah.
So I know I'm not throwing like the back dub immediates, but I'm going to go out there and put something that's clean and hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where my mindset is. I'm playing to my strengths.
Now, obviously, like, is the warm-up room very similar to like our typical nationals room?
No.
Is that an intimidating thing?
You are by yourself with your partner and your coach and your spotter.
And like everybody's in there, I'm assuming, right?
No.
Pretty close to it. No, not the other groups. None of them are in there. You
So
just got
like one or two others.
Yeah,
but it's ran kind of like, well, in the sense it's organized like the traditional warm-up room where you have like 3 teams in there at a time.
Yeah.
So we also had like, I don't remember what division, but it was a full team. I think it was like Game Day Live or something.
Yeah.
Or the one without the band, but it's not traditional Game Day.
Yeah.
And they were also in there. So like at USF, we always face the wall so we can pay attention to ourselves. And so me and Ashlyn, we brought that into how we warm up. Yeah.
Absolutely. What's it like to be the only person out there on the mat? The walkout alone, because I've done some, nothing at a venue like this. This is different. This is big, and I mean we get really excited for it. We watched some together live. Like I had you guys over at the house one time. We watched Partner Stunt live. Like it's we always get really excited about it, and I feel like it's this is a pissing contest. Is essentially what I would describe it as. Like because there's some people that are gung ho to go for broke, and there's some incredible things that happen, like stuff that people talk about forever. Sometimes, like I remember a lot of partner stunt moments. Like I remember things from this. Like it's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
And you share a lot of the similar sentiment.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Full transparency, I walked out there and I said, "Oh." They were not lying when they say this is the loneliest feeling on earth.
Yeah.
But I looked at Ashlyn. She looked fine. She was like, okay, let's do this. So that really calmed me down. And then my spotter, Oscar, he was like one of the best people we could have asked for in the moment.
Yeah.
Like he's such a down-to-earth person. And like just I feel like all 3 of us worked so well together to like I'm a head case. I'm going to admit it.
Yeah.
And so if I'm calm, then it's going to be fine.
And how are you with the performance in general? Because obviously, like, it's so different in that, like, you don't get a second try. Like, it's a one and done. Yeah. And that sucks to a degree, too. Because, like, you know, with the team stuff, it's like I said, we'll always go back. Sometimes you use that first performance just to get comfortable with the venue. There is no getting comfortable. It's You can do it or you can't, and you get this one time. So, I mean, how do you feel with your performance? Looking back, there was a lot of really, really good stuff.
There was a lot of good things, but there was a lot of things that I should have done different. I take full blame for the drop we had at the end. Like, that was completely my fault. I rushed it, let Dal get in, all that. But with that being said, I was fully confident throughout the entire time.
Yeah, that's
like
great.
At the second we had the aerial hit, like, it's one of those, like, we preach it's not cruise control, but like, you've done it so many times, you know what to do now.
You're home free at this point. It's like
the
one part that I'm kind of it's sometimes just breaking the ice. Like once you jump in the water and you get that shock out of the way, you're good to go. It doesn't matter how crazy it is. So, you looking to do that again?
Yeah.
UCA and NCA?
Yes, and hopefully trying out for USA again.
Yeah. How was the Team USA tryout? I mean, you look phenomenal.
It was something different, dude. Like, everyone's so encouraging. But, like, I felt really comfortable there because I knew a lot of the other people trying out.
Yeah.
And I saw they weren't nervous, so why am I going to get nervous whenever I know I can do these skills?
How many people were there, like, that tried out?
Good, like, 30 couples.
How many did they take?
How many was on the mat?
I couldn't tell you. There's a lot. It's at
the
least
mat.
10.
At least co-ed, they take however many couples are on mat and 1 or 2 alternates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How far off were you?
So
did they give you like a ranking order? Like, how do you know? Like, is it just that you did or you didn't?
They don't really give you one. With the returners who don't make it, they call them before and explain why they didn't make it.
Yeah.
So I understand why I didn't make it. I don't tumble. Like, obviously, Team USA, you have to tumble. But Ashlyn, they told her that it was her mid-layering and baskets, like, which is like reasonable.
Yeah.
She hadn't shown, like, she can do the baskets, but she hadn't done them enough, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100% get that.
Yeah, and she's one of our main tippy top girls at USF. Like, why does she need the mid layer? One of those things. So, like, we understood, we get it. Yeah, we're just gonna go
keep
out,
trying to do it.
Show off again.
And you're planning on doing it with the same girl?
Mm-hmm. Ashley.
How's y'all's working relationship?
She. Everyone says me and her remind them of Jill and Ronnie. Like, I'm, like, more laid back, like, okay, let's do this. And she's the authoritative one. I say all the time she bullies me, but I'm the type of person that needs that. Yeah. Like, I need the person that's going to make me do something.
Yeah, she sounds, I just listened to you talk to her on the phone. Yeah. She sounds like an interesting character. And like, awesome. I could see, and obviously you guys went viral together. Like, you guys have pretty good chemistry. A lot of your big moments right here at the end.
I've been with her.
Yeah, I've been with her, and like, you guys gel together really, really well. You look comfortable together in a lot of stuff that you do, and obviously a lot of the crazy stuff that you guys are doing, you're doing together. Yeah. So that's good. I mean, what year is she?
She's going into her 5th, so this is also her last year.
So this is the last rodeo for both of you.
Yep.
I guess as we get ready to wrap this up here, I guess I just want to look at. From the beginning to the end, everything that you know, what would you put out there to people?
Like I told Hallie, the hard work will pay off and it will show. A lot of people want that outcome, but they don't want to work for it. And in this sport, you have to work for everything you get. Mm-hmm. And I want to be remembered as someone who, like, is going to work for it. As much as I might complain about it in the moment, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna work my ass off to get it done.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, this is a good conversation. Obviously, we've talked about a lot of stuff. Yeah. We've covered a lot of stuff that I was interested about. Like I said, there's a whole lot here on the table that we're leaving because I don't have enough time to put together a 12-hour masterclass. This is what this should be. This is going to be a 12-hour masterclass is what it would be. Yeah. And this is going to be hard to edit because there's a lot of good stuff in it. Yeah, just an incredible, like I said, an incredible journey, and I'm excited to see how your story's going to end, at least from a competitive standpoint. I don't really foresee this being your last cheerleading year. No. Honestly, I don't think you do either. No. What that's going to look like is going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. Obviously, like, you're still young, got lots of experience for a young guy, and at a ridiculous level. A lot of it depends on how's your body feeling these days.
I feel the 6 year. I understand why a lot of people don't do 5. And
Yeah.
I couldn't live with myself if I didn't go all I could.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to lay it all out this year.
I guess in that breath, I guess we'll finish it up with this last thing. Going into this last year, what's your last bit of motivation?
To get it done. I need this one.
You want the win?
I need it.
Are you being selfish? Do you want it all? Are you going to win game day, traditional, and
I
partner
hope
stunt?
we win game day. I hope we win traditional. I hope I hit in partner stunt. I want it all. All of it.
Yeah.
I'll be okay if it doesn't happen, but I would be really disappointed if I don't put my best effort out there.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited, as many people are going to be, because you're viral now. Maybe this will go viral too. Who knows? I need some life. But appreciate you, because you're getting ready to go back tomorrow, right? Or 2 days?
On the 4th, yeah.
Wow. On the 4th. You going back to Florida? You flying?
So I'm going to one of my old teammates' house for 4th of July, and then we're flying out to college circuit from there.
Yeah. And so you're doing UCA.
Yep.
Is this your first year doing it, or you've done it before?
It's my first year.
You like it?
So far, yeah. I love it.
Yeah, because you said you've done just a couple camps so far, and now you're getting ready to do like the college stuff. I do want to ask one last question, because we haven't touched on this, and I always told you that the payback was coming. How fun is it to work these clinics? Because I told you what was coming, and I rue the day that you guys get to understand what I go through. Mm-hmm. And like, as bad as your clinic days are, I was doing those every day.
Yeah.
Like, every day was a clinic day for me.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, how much do you love getting to work with brand new people at the clinic that have never done anything? Because clinics are fun.
Yeah.
There are some things that are really exciting about clinics. Is a lot of times, first time you're going to meet some of your teammates.
Yeah.
But it's the first time you're going to meet a lot of people that are never going to be your teammates.
So I'll put it to you like this. I would much rather have someone who's eager and never has done something and is willing to learn than have someone who thinks they know what they're doing.
Yes.
Like, the joy of hitting someone's first toss hands, like seeing that, that's why I never complain about a clinic. Because I will change someone's day.
Exactly.
Every clinic.
But there's always that one kid.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to know some, because there's got to be some funny. They don't have to be bad stories, but like, I just want to. Like, the clinics are hard. They're physically demanding. I feel like as you get older, they're not as bad, because the older and more experienced you are, the more likely they're going to pair you off with people that they think are potentially actually going to be there. And there's a lot bit of, not always, but it's smoother than working on a full up on this girl that cannot jump or something like that.
Ripping people off the ground and saying,
oh
my God, good job, let's try this again next year.
Dude, I've been there, I know. But there's always that one kid that can't shut up, that one kid that's got to do this. And then they're like, I can't wait to be on your team, and it's going to be like this. There's always that one kid. Have you ever like sized anybody up at the clinic before you ever got them? Like, they're going to try it, they're probably going to make it, but you're like, I'm going to have to size this kid up day one.
Oh, yeah. So I've been kicked out of plenty of practices for the way I talk to people. So throughout the years, I've gotten better about that. But I've definitely had to walk away mid-conversations from a few people.
Yeah, it's a tough. I mean, we always just beat the hell out of you guys with it. Like, that was pretty much my thing. Like, okay, you want to do it your way? I'll show you what happens if you want to do it your way. And I was very tough about that. But, like, it's interesting because you guys are, especially, like, as the profile of you guys have grown. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, are your clinics getting really wild? Like, you guys having, like, insane turnout at these?
We're like, selling out clinics within the first couple hours of, like, the registration being open.
And you guys put a cap on how many you can have because you got so many.
We try not to, but there's some clinics where you have to.
Yeah, there's just too many.
Like, if you're willing to pay to come out, we're willing to work with you.
What's an average clinic size, would you guess?
150, 200 people. But you have to think about it, we have 50 people.
Yeah, I know, but still, it's just...
But luckily, we do it... Our clinics are very unique to where we have an entire section of, like, our elite top girls going with, like, transfer students.
Yeah.
Like, boys, really, they have their own, like, section. And, like, we also do what we call stunt schools. It's where we have one-on-one co-ed, one-on-one pyramid, one-on-one basket, one-on-one tumbling. So those are a lot easier. But the big clinics, yeah, you're going to work.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're getting to do such a thing.
Yeah.
But as we're going to go ahead and wrap this up, and I appreciate Brandon. I appreciate you coming down, and I wish you the best luck. I probably won't get an opportunity to see you again before you go off to school, and this is probably the first time we've seen each other in years.
4 or 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. So, just getting to catch up and see you look the same. So that's good. You actually look a little more fit.
I've lost some weight.
Yeah, like you look toned more, and like you've always been like a strong. Like people will never be able to say you're not strong, fucking ever. They're never gonna be able to say that. But you definitely look like you've gotten in some better shape. Like you look very lean. Like you're big, but looks like a very natural type of big. So you definitely look like you're doing good, and you got some sun, a little tan on you.
Living in Florida, girl. We gonna get burnt. One thing about us.
Amen. You go to the beach a lot?
Yeah. Well, we take a lot of recruits out there. That's a big sell point for us.
Yeah, that was for me too.
Yep.
Cut that out.
Nope, keep it.
We got the train running in the background, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because the train's going to be running for 5 minutes. But I said, once again, thank you for coming on and listening to this. I hope that this gains a lot of traction. If you guys want to follow him, I will make sure. I'm always going to tag him in the stuff that I'm going to promote. He's gone viral, so you may already be following him. He's probably more popular than I am. But once again, if you're a person that's out there looking, like Brandon's a great guy to reach out to if you ever have questions about stuff. Like he's very helpful. Just be prepared. Not always going to be friendly, but
I've gotten better.
He's gotten better. But like, definitely one of the people that is at the forefront of a lot of what goes on today, and some of the stuff that you're doing. Like I seen the triple up that you did in Daytona. Like I ain't seen very many of those in my life, and the people that I know do it are special. So, just tons of stuff like that. But thank you guys once again for listening. Thank you guys for your continued support. Please continue to like, subscribe, repost, whatever it is. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, this on YouTube, or any one of my other various outlets to where you can listen to this podcast now. Please continue to support us. And more importantly than supporting me, please continue to support the athletes. And I will continue to do more stuff. I'm hopefully going to do some more interviews. And like I said, Hallie Wynn, please check out her. It's not Wynn anymore. That's what I'm going to call her because I can't stop calling her that. But it's just, that's how I called her before I gave her. Because we had her and Sidnor. Mm-hmm. So it always, full name for both of them. And it's a fucking habit now. I can't help it. But like I said, thank you guys so much. Continue to support them. And I will see you guys next time on Memoirs of the Father. Goodbye and good night.